Hello again, this is Stan Fischler with Islander immortal Bob Nystrom, and we're over some bagels, and we're going to have some body-checking banter, and the subject, Game 4, 1983. Islanders and the Oilers, and you know, Bobby, I took 3 bites out of this bagel. You guys have taken 3 bites out of the Edmonton Oilers, but you still didn't have the cup yet.
No, there's no question about it, and you know, when you looked at that hockey club, you knew that there was an opportunity for them to come back, because when you've got a team with Gretzky and a Messier and a Coffey and a Curry and Fuhrer, I mean, what can you say? We knew that we hadn't won that series until the final buzzer went, and that 4th game was going to be a tough one.
Well, to be nice to the Oilers, I'll say they were pugnacious, and I'm thinking about an NHL banquet the day before Game 4. It was right across the street from the Coliseum at the hotel. And I remember, and you were there, and Glenn Sather's coaching the Oilers, and he got up to speak. And I remember he angered the Islanders. He angered Bill Torrey. It was as if he was winning 3-zip. There was absolutely no humility with this guy.
No, and I remember that so well because, you know, he had that kind of an attitude. Glenn Sather was cocky. He used to yell at me from behind the bench, and I thought that that was about the worst thing that a coach could do. He's standing there behind his players. Why is he yelling at me, you know? And I used to get really upset at that. But I think that some of his confidence, some of his cockiness had worn off on the players. And there's no question they were a talented team, but they also had a little problem with an ego. And I think that more than anything else, Stan, we were the exact opposite, I think. That's why we wanted to beat them so bad.
Well, you know, only 2 other teams in NHL history had ever won 4 straight Stanley Cups. One of them, the Canadians, in 1960, won 5 in a row. But having won 3 in a row, were you guys getting a little bit bored with it?
Absolutely not. I mean, here you're talking about a group of guys that had really made Long Island their home, and we felt that we owned the cup on Long Island, and we weren't going to give it up that easily. We felt that this was our hardware. We had worked hard for it, and we weren't, and we are definitely not giving it up to the Edmonton Oilers.
Okay. He says they're not going to give it up. Wayne Gretzky has some other thoughts on his mind. Let's go right into Game 4.
Now let's meet the officials for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. It goes to the hands of referee Andy Van Hellemond. And he'll be joined tonight by linesman Swede Knox and John D'Amico. You think this crowd isn't ready? There is Andy Van Hellemond getting ready. D'Amico and Knox. Swede Knox replacing Ray Scapanello. Andy Moog will be back in goal tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. Brings now a 3.04 goals against average into play. A record, as you see, of 11-3, actually. Billy Smith in the playoffs is 12-3 with 2 shutouts and a 2.73 goals against average. The Islanders to the right, the Edmonton Oilers to the left. The referee, again, has called the 2 captains over right in front of the penalty box in the middle of your picture. You see them discussing the situation. The referee, I'm sure, telling them that he is in charge now, wanting both teams to cooperate and have a good game. Nice to see Miss Piggy here tonight. A lot of haze hanging over the ice surface. More sparklers tonight than I can recall seeing in any of the previous playoff games. Here we go. Trottier at center ice. Bossy on the right side. Gillies on the left with Persson and Potvin at the point. Gretzky is at center ice for Edmonton. Glenn Anderson on the left wing. Johnny Curry is on the right side. Some debris on the ice as the referee was ready to drop the puck. You see that Paul Boudelier, Greg Gilbert, Matt Saline, and Mike McEwen are not dressed tonight for the Islanders. The puck cleared to the Edmonton line. That's Lowe. Kevin Lowe shoots it down into the Islanders zone. It's wide of Billy Smith. Potvin picks it up and we get an icing call. 10 seconds into the hockey game.
Big factor for the Islanders, Captain Dennis Potvin. They need the best of his abilities to wrap up this series. Gary Unger, Puzar, and Gary LaRiviere out, not dressed, for the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, the face-off moves to the left of the Edmonton goal. Gretzky against Trottier, and Edmonton got the puck low around the boards for Fogelin. Gilly steps in front of him. The puck moved up the right wing. Curry out to center ice to Anderson. Works on Persson, and a shot went sailing over the crossbar. Potvin back. moved it to the line, but not out. Vogelin shot cleared aside by Billy Smith, and here's Bossy with it around behind the net to Potvin. Up the left side to Gillies. Burns dropped it back for Potvin, who fires it into center. Up over Vogelin's stick. Will it go far enough for icing? Yes, they say, as Ron Lowe, Kevin Lowe, touches up, and we get a face-off to the Islander end of the ice.
Players a little jittery at the beginning of a hockey game. You see the shot by Vogelin from the point. Billy Smith misjudged it a little, but Billy Smith inherently backs up his play, gets his body in behind it, made the save. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the New York Islanders. Is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Islanders and SportsChannel is prohibited.
From the draw, here's a drive that bounced off Nystrom, and Smith clears it up the right side. Bobby Nystrom up with Trottier and Goring at the moment. Trottier feeding it back in the net. Hughes put it right on Trottier's stick. Around the boards. Held in by Randy Gregg of Edmonton. Here's Johnson working it the other way. Nystrom takes a run at it with Jackson. The puck came off to the side of the net and cleared by Morrow. Kenny Morrow turned around. He and Hunter in a struggle. Both of them ended up on the ice. And the puck comes to the left side for Goring, who flips it high in the air and into the center ice zone. No score. The game about a minute and 15 seconds old as Nystrom just stepped into Jackson at center ice. Cote out for Edmonton has given it to Hughes. He forces the Islanders to go back. Morrow waiting for his teammates to come back. Johnson turns in the near corner. Morrow carries it from back of the net. Into center ice. Kenny Morrow dumps it wide of the Edmonton goal. Nystrom was upended at the blue line. In the meantime, the Oilers have just turned it around the boards and out to center ice. Morrow over to poke it away from Lindgren. Here's Butch scoring with the puck. Now to Stanley. The Oilers finishing the plays, hitting after the Islanders have made the pass. Wayne Sutter checked at the blue line. Edmonton trying to get something organized as Willie Lindstrom has checked at the Islander blue line, and the puck is cleared. So Charlie Huddy backs up in front of the Edmonton goal, played it off to the far side for Coffey, ridden along the boards by Brent Sutter. Brent Sutter has it in his skates. Can't get away from Huddy's grasp. He is all over top of him. Now Bourne has taken off the puck. Wayne Sutter picks it up. Wayne Sutter turning to the Edmonton zone. Finally, play is called. Brent Sutter is still in a headlock as Paul Coffey had him tied up, and Sutter comes out of there throwing the fist at Paul Coffey. So we get our first indication of a flare-up in the hockey game at 2:16 of the opening period. See the linesman, John D'Amico, Reed Knox, and also the referee trying to pull them apart. Just refused to separate, and now we get penalties and a break in the action as well. 17:44 left in the opening period. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on SportsChannel.
Unfortunate right at the beginning of the game. Paul Coffey and Brent Sutter get tangled up. They get 2 roughing penalties apiece, so they each get 4 minutes. They get the roughing penalties at the beginning, and then when the referee asked them to separate, and they didn't, they get 2 more.
So we watch them work at 5-a-side as Messier fed it to Vogelin, and it's dumped into center ice. This is Persson across the Potvin. Up the right side for Bourne. Breaks it over the line with Wayne Sutter trailing. He shoots over, just went wide. Comes bouncing off the boards on the right side for Lindgren. Kenny Lindgren into the Islander zone. Drop pass. Messier's shot was on target. Billy Smith drops it off towards Wayne Sutter. Sutter checks out his options, gave it to Potvin, who stick handles into center ice. Right side to Dwayne Sutter into the Edmonton zone with a shot that went off low and ends up in the seats back of the Edmonton net. 17 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the opening period.
Edmonton, Jiggs, has set the tone. They're hitting everybody and everything in sight. Defensemen, forwards, everybody. They're going to try and wear down the Islanders. We've seen the teams over the years try to do that, and it is not successful. The Islanders well conditioned. Here's Lindgren as he drops the puck. There's the shot easily handled by Billy Smith. He unleashed the puck to his defenseman and kept the play going. Face-off is to the left and in Andy Moog's end of the ice.
Now on the draw, Trottier went to the boards, picked it up, and cleared it back of the net. Oh, trying to move it around to the right wing for Curry. It was checked. Here's Bossy to Morrow. Morrow's shot was high, knocked out of the air by Moog, and cleared by Randy Gregg. Now Gretzky goes rink wide to Curry. Had to turn to get away from Bossy. Yari Curry fires it wide of the net. It bounced right out in front of the Islander goal, but there was Morrow. Kenny Morrow takes a look, plays it around the boards. Into the blue line for Gregg. His long shot. Smith makes the save. Clears the rebound back of the net. Kenny Morrow and Gretzky tied up. Morrow came up with the puck, having trouble clearing it around the boards, however. Pulled it away from Curry, and here comes Johnson. Ahead to Trache. Ryan Trache moves up with Bossy, who took the pass and his skates, couldn't get it to the stick. And Gregg fires it right back to Curry. Curry to the near side. Johnson for the Islanders. To Trache. Breaks it over the line. Trache a drive, and that was deflected wide as Jackson cut up to him. Here's Morrow coming in on the right side. Kenny Morrow shoots. Moog the save. Morrow goes back in the net. Gave it to Trache. The Bossy in front. He shoots, and that's deflected off Jackson and into the seats. Wow, a break in the action. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on Sports Channel.
Opportunities so far. Edmonton territorially has had the better of the play. Islanders seem to be coming back now. Morrow got a couple of good shots away.
Billy Carroll and Anders Kaller are the forwards for the Islanders. We watch the Edmonton Oilers. Messier trying to make the play at the Islander line. It was onside the rule, and here's Buckfang going back in the net. Played it up the left side. It's off by Fogel, and Kaller right on top of him. Messier trying to go to the left wing for Linsman. He and Persson bunt together. The puck held in. Kevin Lowe trying to make the play. Loose in front. Smith poked away at it, and it ends up on the stick of Potvin. Eddie Potvin wheels back to the net. Comes out on the right side. Carries it to the blue line. Into center ice. He likes to shoot it into the Edmonton end of the ice, and there's Moog back in the net to handle it for Lowe. Lowe tries the left side. Hughes, a breaking pass into center ice, picked up by Anderson across the Islander line. Anderson, a bullet that was wide of the net. Kenny Morrow with it. Out of John Tonelli. Tonelli ahead to Carroll. They try to catch Edmonton at a player change. The pass to Johnson, one-on-one with Gregg. Thomas Johnson can't get around the reach of Randy Gregg. They go to the boards together. Fans are upset with the way Gregg handled Johnson, but the Oilers started in control of the puck. At center ice, Jackson is checked. Tonelli sends Goring over the line. Butch Goring unable to get through the defense. Here's Pat Hughes. 59 seconds remaining in those double roughing penalties. Teams continue at 5 aside as we watch Anderson wind up. Glenn Anderson playing on a bad D to Gregg. Gregg into the Islander zone. Back to Anderson. Can't get a backhander away as Morrow rolled him off the puck. Now Tonelli feeds it to Goring. Checked in his own zone. Curry gives it to Anderson. Anderson and Goring stepped in front of him. Anderson shot deflected and ends up on the left wing boards. Tonelli takes a poke at it. Clears it down into the Edmonton end of the ice. It won't go far enough for icing. This is Kevin Lowe. 25 seconds remaining in those penalties. No score in the first period. Lowe carries the puck to center ice. Went to the left side with a pass to Curry, who shoots it around the boards. Here's Potvin. And Potvin couldn't get a stick on it. Gretzky unable to set up Curry, who was wide open. Now Gord Lane has cleared the puck to center ice. Lee Fogelin waiting at the Edmonton line. Gave it to Lowe, who sends Gretzky over the line. Back to Lowe. He's checked by Potvin neatly, and there's Blaine Sutter. Brent Sutter is back on the ice, along with Coffey. And the Oilers have shot it in wide. Billy Smith out of the net to handle it. Gave it to Potvin. Potvin comes from back to the net. Eddie Lane got a piece of Gretzky as they went behind the goal together. Here's Bourne across the line. Bob Bourne shot, grabbed by Moog, and he holds it for a face-off. There is no score. You're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs on Sports Channel.
Well, a look at the two goaltenders, 18. Big factor in any hockey game. We've often said, like pitchers in a World Series game.
Andy Moog has given up 12 goals. Billy Smith has given up only 4. The Islanders have scored 13, but one of those an empty net goal. Those numbers are strictly in the Stanley Cup Finals. Gillies just moved up, knocked the puck away from Huddy. The Oilers trying to come out on this near side. Charlie Huddy with it again. Goes to the left wing side. Dave Hunter's pass off Huddy's stick, controlled by Nystrom, who's out with Merrick and Gillies. Mark Gillies to Stefan Persson. Now to Langevin. Into the center ice zone. Langevin steps across the Edmonton line. Fired one toward the net that went wide. It is picked up by Huddy. Charlie Huddy. The Lumley across to the left side, and into the Islanders zone comes Ralston. Took a good shot. Smith, a dandy save there. Dave Semenko pries it off the boards. Merrick ties him up, and there's Bob Nystrom. The pass went to Gillies. Gillies bowled over from behind. Fed it ahead neatly to Nystrom. Nystrom over the line. 3 Oilers back. Here's Nystrom trying to work around Coffey, and he shot it wide. Langevin off the point. Can't get it away from Lumley. Ralston moves up right wing with a pass for Semenko. He was pulled down, and there's going to be a penalty here. The first power play of the game will go to the Edmonton Oilers. A break in the action with 12:20 left in the opening period. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals exclusively on SportsChannel.
Dave Langevin get caught up the ice. Clark Gillies goes back to cover. There goes Semenko trying to get ahead of Gillies. The puck come off the board. Clark Gillies pulled the feet out from underneath Semenko, forcing Andy Van Helleman to call the penalty on Clark Gillies. A tripping penalty at 7:40.
The Oilers have scored once in the series with the power play. They've had 15 opportunities up until tonight. And Kenny Morrow has just forced them to start from deep in their own zone. Al Arbor has Goring and Carroll out on the ice, along with Morrow and Johnson. You watch the Oilers start out. Yari Curry went to the left side for Anderson. Gretzky moves up right wing. Anderson tried to feed it to Gretzky, and Johnson got a stick on that, deflecting it into the seats. 29 seconds gone in the penalty time.
I understand we're being seen in Bermuda, my favorite place.
I heard that. Is it the same time in Bermuda, or would those executives be at dinner right now?
Now they have to be watching the hockey game. They better be watching the hockey game.
We make reference, of course, to the parent company, the folks from Cablevision. The management group is having their meeting in Bermuda. They're watching us live tonight on SportsChannel, and we send our best. Hope you bring back your best, guys. Low on the far side, moving in deep with a shot. That was blocked by Trottier. Curry with it again. Yari Curry to Messier, trying to set up the play at the blue line, and Trottier got a stick on it and shot it down the ice. Trottier and Goring get a rest as Bourne and Billy Carroll come out. A minute and 8 seconds left in the Edmonton power play. There's no score in the first period, and the Oilers couldn't start out cleanly. Curry around behind the net to Lowe. Kevin Lowe being checked now by Billy Carroll. Bourne moves in, knocked the puck loose, and it was swept away from the front of the net by Curry. Now the Oilers fail again to get out of their own end of the ice. Johnson around behind the net.
Fine coverage, Jake, by Carroll and Bourne as they sweep and swing and go into circles, cutting down any of the plays that Edmonton have tried to make.
The Islanders thought the Oilers had just iced the puck, but no whistle, and here's Curry waiting at center. 30 seconds left in their power play. Yari Curry to Coffey. All Coffey shot it wide of Smith and rebounded in front. Slapped out of there by Johnson. Goring races up and pick up the puck at the Edmonton line. Now Billy Carroll moves in. Carroll right in on goal, and he was checked by Coffey. Yari Curry clears the puck to center, and this is Potvin. Potvin backhands one down the ice. Chasing it is Coffey. Carroll on top of him. 5 seconds left, and the Oilers haven't done much with the first power play of the game. Lindstrom over center ice into the Islanders zone. Ran into Pearson's check, and Smith is out to clear it. Billy Smith out to Carroll, now to Goring, up to Gillies on left wing across the Edmonton line. Gillies unable to set up Goring, who had headed for the net. Then Goring is knocked down behind the play, and Lumley is going to the penalty box. Lumley is really yelling at the referee. But the Islanders will get the man advantage. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on SportsChannel.
Dave Lumley draws an interference penalty on Butch Goring, just to the left of Andy Moog, right by the net. Lumley pulled down Butch Goring. He had not touched the puck, had not been involved in the play, resulting in an interference penalty, and the Islanders get their first opportunity on the power play.
It's Trottier, Bossy, and Caller with Potvin and Johnson on the points, and the puck has been cleared between the 2-point men, and the Islanders have to go back. I mentioned the power play stats for Edmonton being none too impressive. The Islanders not a whole lot better. They've had 1 power play goal and 9 chances. Bossy goes rink wide to Caller. Chases it in the Edmonton zone. It's blocked by Gregg. Gregg failed to clear it on the first attempt, and it comes loose for Potvin. Can't get there in time. Bossy picks it up. Mike Bossy across to Trottier, to the point for Johnson, into Trottier. Trottier trying to get it back to Potvin, and that's what off a stick, and Hughes, or Hunter rather, has cleared it into center ice. Eddie Potvin feeds it over to Thomas Johnson. Johnson tries the left wing boards. Trottier comes over the Edmonton line. Bossy went to the net. The pass was tipped by Gregg. The Oilers move to center. Hunter zigzagging with the puck. Across the Islander line now with Hughes, and it's shot up into the crowd as Johnson came over and deflected the shot. 9 minutes and 9 seconds left in the period. 1 minute and 3 seconds remaining. Face-off will be outside the circle to the right of the Islander goal as you look at Dave Lumley in the penalty box. He was banished there by that man, Andy Van Helleman. Gretzky is out as a penalty killer, taking the face-off with Trottier. Gillies on the left side, Bossy on the right for the Islanders. Here's Persson after they had won the draw, giving it back to Trottier, up to Bossy. Bossy shoots it around the boards. Moog failed to cut it off. Gillies in after it, out in front, and drives. Trottier!
A blast from Brian Trottier. And the Islanders strike first. There's Fogelin as he tried to break up the pass from Clark Gillies. But as Andy Moog moved across the net, there he is out behind the net. Fogelin missed the pass. Brian Trottier did not. Clark Gillies set him up. There's Gillies, quickly moved in behind the net, made the play, and Brian Trottier, with his 8th playoff goal of the season, has made it 1-0 for the New York Islanders.
That's his first goal in this final series against Edmonton. A power play goal at 11:02. Bossy gets an assist along with Clark Gillies. So it is 1-0, and the Islanders come over the Edmonton line with Gillies shooting one high and wide. Picked up by Lowe. Kevin Lowe flips it out into the center ice zone. The role the Islander defense could have played it, so Gord Lane is given a chase by Linsman. The puck went loose. Potvin up the left side for Clark Gillies. To the blue line for Dwayne Sutter. Comes over center ice with Brent on the left side. Dwayne Sutter to Brent Sutter, and it's offside. John D'Amico calling the play, was straddling the blue line. Yes, we should mention, 18, that the group from Cablevision, the management group that are watching tonight in Bermuda, are indebted to the folks at ZBN. They're the people that are making the transmission of the Stanley Cup final game possible to them direct from SportsChannel here. And our thanks to the folks at ZBN. If we group up at this end, pull the plug so the bosses don't know about it.
I mean, if I go to Bermuda after the hockey season, I can watch SportsChannel? No?
No. Not on a regular basis. We're working on it. Islanders up 1-0 as they try to break up the Edmonton play, and they're successful. Tonelli across to Nystrom, to Tonelli. Shoots. He scores!
They strike like lightning. They've done it again as Edmonton, still reeling from the Brian Trottier goal a moment ago, are caught in their own end of the ice. Charlie Huddy after Bob Nystrom, and all alone, unprotected, is John Tonelli. Look at the hustle by Nystrom. Look at the one move by John Tonelli, and it's 2-0 as the Islanders move in quickly. Bob Nystrom knew exactly where to put it. John Tonelli knew exactly where to be. Ralston moved in behind John Tonelli, but he was not quick enough. And John Tonelli, 7th goal of the playoffs, gives the Islanders what they wanted, a 2-0 lead.
Nystrom the only assist, and again, as with Trottier, it is the first goal for John Tonelli in this final series against the Edmonton Oilers, but a big 2-0 lead. The goals 43 seconds apart. The Islanders, you talk about Edmonton being an explosive team, you have only to look at the New York Islanders and the damage they can do. Not just this series, you think back to the series against Washington, the Rangers, and also the Boston series, and maybe more particularly the Boston series.
The Islanders, James, have done it so often in the third period.
And there they are again, knocking at the door, and it just went wide off Trottier's stick. Bossy puts it out in front. It was knocked down, and the Oilers trying to clear it. Get it into center ice. Gretzky across the Islander line. Wayne Gretzky tried to feed Curry. Janssen had stepped in front of him, and here's Trottier with the puck to Keller. Off his stick and right back to Kenny Morrow. Morrow trying to outskate Gretzky. Finds an opening and cleared it to the line. They ruled the Oilers held it onside. Now Curry goes after a bouncing puck. Gave it to Gretzky. Gretzky checked by Morrow. The puck comes loose for Trottier. And Trottier up the right side to Bossy. He's got a breakaway. Bossy coming right in on goal. He shoots. He scores!
The offensive mind of the Edmonton Oilers. Jerry Curry was way in deep, as was Gretzky, and they were caught, all of them, when Brian Crotche laid this perfect pass to Mike Bossy. He's away and running from center ice. No one to catch him. And that low shot between the legs of Andy Moog. 3-0 now as the Islanders explode better than halfway through the first period. 10-point pass by Crotche to Bossy. And as Andy Moog makes the first move, watch the left leg of Andy Moog. He shot it out. Bossy put it right between his legs. His 17th goal. The master has struck for the third goal here in the first period.
This whole thing started at 11:02 with Crotche's goal on a power play, then Tonelli at 11:45, now Bossy at 12:39. The span of 1 minute and 37 seconds. It is 3-0 Islanders. And the Oilers unable to get something organized in the Islander end. Lane to Dwayne Sutter, turned it into center ice. Backing up for Edmonton is Mark Messier. The Oilers went to the bench, sagged a little, but now everybody on their feet, and Dwayne Sutter has just stolen the puck, but can't get it out to Grant. This is Lee Fogelin, the Edmonton captain, to Lindstrom. Into center ice comes Linsman. Linsman over the line. Can't get around Potvin, who tied him up neatly. Here's Messier back to the net. Mark Messier trying to center the puck. Ford Lane ties him in a knot and will get a face-off deep in the Islander end of the ice. 6 minutes and 36 seconds remaining. And this the opening period.
Jake, that's Bossy's 69th career playoff goal. Only Rocket Richard with 82 and Jean Beliveau with 79 have more playoff goals.
I don't know. Did we give the assist on that goal? I'll get it for you. There was one, obviously. But it is 3-0 Islanders, and here are the Oilers starting out. Cote, long pass. Hunter can't get around Persson as he cut it on left wing. Now Dave Hunter puts it in the corner for Cote to Hunter. Back of the net. Came bouncing off the mesh and picked up by John Tonelli. Tonelli trying to get away from Hunter. Lost the puck to Cote. Cote centers. It's on the doorstep and cleared. Comes bouncing out in front again, and again it's cleared. Here's John Tonelli. Falls. Longevin is there. Around behind the net to Persson. Up to Nystrom. Out to center. Got away from Goring, and Huddy gives chase. Tonelli moves up quickly as Huddy cleared it across the line. Hughes brought it back in. Now gives it to Cote. Cote fires it wide of Billy Smith, who is out of the net to handle the puck. Laid it off the glass. It's held in. Picked up by Cote. Put it out in front off Smith's stick. Back to the right point for Gregg. Randy Gregg trying to get around Goring. Moves in. His shot is deflected wide. Longevin with it. Has fired it down the boards into the Edmonton zone. Nystrom chasing it with Gregg. It didn't go far enough for icing. Gregg around to Huddy. Back to Randy Gregg. Just over 5 minutes to play in the first period. Here's Gregg trying the left side, and the Oilers, in the middle of the player change, elect to shoot it in. Anders Kaller is out on the ice along with Trottier and Bossy for the Islanders. Ryan Trottier dropped it back. Johnson couldn't get a stick on it. Here's Curry on right wing. Jari Curry lost the puck. Trottier gets out of his own zone. Able to feed Bossy on the right wing. Now shoots it off the boards, and Moog moves out of the net to cut it off for Lowe. Kevin Lowe went to the left side. Glenn Anderson over center ice. Flipped it right at Morrow. Eddie Morrow knocked it down. Bossy went to clear the puck and does. The Islanders start out 3-on-2. Kaller on left wing. Trottier takes the pass on the right side. Back to Kaller. Off his stick, and it's cleared by Moog. Now Fogelin, the Edmonton captain, elects to try Anderson again. He shoots from the blue line. That sailed over the crossbar. Comes bouncing right out in front. There's Thomas Johnson to pick it up. Johnson, right side to Dwayne Sutter. He and Kaller come over center ice. Now Kaller goes for a rest. Dwayne Sutter's shot went high and wide of Moog. Gretzky moves in to pick it up. Lost it to Brent Sutter. Cuts him off the wing. Shoots off the glove of Andy Moog. Here's Bob Bourne circling. Bourne trying to put it out in front of the net. Gave it to Brent Sutter. Brent Sutter to Dwayne Sutter. Parked back of the net. Looks for a man in front. Fed it to the point, and Lane moved over. Couldn't hold it at the blue line and regroups at center ice. Cordy Lane to Bourne, taken off the play by Fogelin. That's Kevin Lowe behind the net. Waited for Ralston to skate past the puck. Fogelin up the right wing side, out into center ice. Potvin had it knocked away from the intended receiver. That's Lowe. Just under 4 minutes left in the first period. It's all Islanders up 3-0. Ralston has flipped the puck into the Islander end of the ice. This is Gordy Lane. Lane around to the right side for Nystrom. And trotted into center ice. Charlie Huddy with it. Huddy to Ralston, then right back to Huddy. Now to Ralston. Trotted into the Islander end of the ice, wide of the net. Gordy Lane picks it up. Backhanded it off the boards. It's loose at the blue line. And the Islanders come down 3-on-1. Nystrom to Goring. Tonelli moves in. Goring shot. That one wide. Came bouncing out in front and is cleared at the last second by Huddy. Nystrom steps into Lumley as Ralston comes over the Islander blue line with a shot. That hit Potvin. Huddy is checked by Goring. The puck loose for Semenko. Dave Semenko goes back to the net. Is bumped off the puck by Potvin. And Gord Lane gave it to Nystrom. Nystrom unable to get it out in the first effort. Finally cleared it to center ice, and here's Huddy. Charlie Huddy unable to put it on Semenko's stick. Bill Smith left it for Stefan Persson. Persson up right wing to Bossy. Tonelli open on the left side. Bossy carries it to the line. He shoots one. Goal to stop. Rache unable to pick up the rebound, and out comes Gregg. A pass ahead to Linsman into the Islanders' zone. Kenny Linsman to Gregg. Randy Gregg's shot was on target. Smith got the left pad in front of it. Here's Langevin. Langevin checked by Lindstrom. Now Linsman is steered to the corner by Persson's check. Jackson off the left wing. Put it out in front. Willie Lindstrom with it for Edmonton to Gregg. He shoots. Smith makes the save and holds it for a face-off. 2 minutes and 9 seconds left in the opening period. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on SportsChannel. Look at the two coaches on the top of your screen. That's Glenn Sather on the left, Al Arbor on the right.
See Jimmy Pickard signal to Al Arbor. Everybody works on the bench. Something Al didn't see. Jimmy Pickard did, pointed it out. Al made the change.
And now we watch the Oilers try to get organized and couldn't. Wayne Sutter gave it to Brent. His shot was grabbed out of the air by Moog. Two Sutter brothers and Bob Bourne, the forwards for the Islanders. The Oilers have shot it down the ice. It'll be wide of Billy Smith. Persson touches up, and we get an icing call. We have 1 minute and 49 seconds left in the first period. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals exclusively on SportsChannel. Play underway in the Edmonton zone. We watched Wayne Sutter taking it off the boards, coming out in front with a pass to Bourne. Back to Sutter. A drive hit the post as Brent Sutter let one go. He was tied in a knot at the time and still managed to get wood on the puck. Here's Lindstrom on right wing, giving it to Linsman. Up the left side to Messier, went off his skates. Persson has cleared it out to center ice. Wayne Sutter bumped by Lowe. The Oilers try to get organized again and fail. This is Stefan Persson across to Langevin. Dave Langevin goes rink wide to Mike Bossy. Now to Trache, comes over the line. Trache can't get around Gregg. Fed the puck back of the net. Andy Moog cuts it off for Lowe. Lowe tries the left side. Dave Hunter into the Islanders zone. His pass in front of the net. Johnson had the man tied up. Waltzed him around a little bit. Trache took a hit as he cleared the puck to Gillies, and it goes off his stick and into the penalty box. Watching one of the best, the Stanley Cup Finals, exclusively on SportsChannel, and this is Bossy giving it to Trache. Cross to Johnson, ahead to Gillies. Gillies on left wing, fed it deeply to Bossy, who was checked. Gillies moved in, can't pick it up. Bossy has it again. Mike Bossy to Gillies, he shoots. Oh, got a piece of that. It comes up from the left wing side, and Johnson, moving in from the point, was able to keep it in. Bossy had been knocked down. The fans, you may have heard them react to that. As Gretzky sends Hunter into the Islanders zone, he fed it around the boards. Thomas Johnson comes back. Johnson up the right wing. There's the horn ending the opening period, and the Islanders score 3 times in the span of 1 minute and 37 seconds. They have rattled the Edmonton Oilers. They did what they wanted to do. At the end of the first period, our score is the Islanders 3, the Oilers nothing. We'll be back with a recap following these messages.
Well, after that first period, the Islanders had not only taken 3 bites out of the Oilers, 3 goals, they were ready to do a little smearing, like I'm smearing this cream cheese on a bagel. Now, in the room, did you feel you're going to smear them a little bit more?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was shocked at the way the first period went, because it was certainly a lot easier period than we had ever anticipated. And, you know, it was kind of hard for us to believe that the Edmonton Oilers were actually going to lay down. You know, that's always a hope of a team that's winning a series, 3 games, and they have the opportunity to put them away. You know, you always have that in the back of your mind. And it's one of the things that you've got to get out of your mind is that the other team's going to die.
Yeah.
Because then you don't prepare for the game, then you're not ready for the game. Well, after the first period, we thought that we were just going to cakewalk it. Hey, we've got the cup won, and Edmonton's laying down like dogs, and they didn't.
One of the best hockey bromides says that the worst thing that could happen to you is to get an early 3-goal lead. The Islanders got the early 3-goal lead, but I figured that if you could get that 4th goal and make it a 4-0 game, then it was pretty much in the bag. But I felt if Edmonton got a goal,
right,
then there was going to be trouble.
Well, that's it. You know, they had so much offensive power, and anybody could really score. You look at the 4 lines that they put out. I mean, anyone had the ability to score, but, you know, that's so true. We could have put that game away. If we could have just snagged one more, then I think that team would have really died. But in general, we were in pretty good position after the first period with the 3 goals, but it just didn't really turn out that way.
Now, you got to remember something, that Wayne Gretzky was not only a great scorer, he was a great enemy of the Islanders. He had that incident with Billy Smith,
right,
and he was being pretty much suffocated by Brian Trottier, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Stan, in looking back at all the Stanley Cups that we won and you know, the teams that we had beaten, certainly, you know, the Stanley Cup against the Edmonton Oilers is one that stands out, because up until this point, we had basically just been able to shut down their offensive guns. We played probably the most picture-perfect game plan that we had ever played, and I think that was a tribute to Al, and also for the way he had instilled it in the players.
Did you think, or did the players look at Wayne Gretzky as a wimp? Forgetting about all the goals and assists, did you think he was a wimpy player?
No, definitely not. You know, I always felt that, yes, they did have guys like Dave Semenko that could certainly protect a Wayne Gretzky. But no, we had an awful lot of respect for him. Here's a guy that had led his team and was such a big part of the National Hockey League. You know, you can't take anything away from this guy.
Well, let's see. I'm doing a little schmear for my next break. Let's see if the Islanders do any schmearing in the 2nd period.
Here at the Nassau Coliseum, the 2 teams coming out on the ice getting ready for the 2nd period, with the Islanders leading 3-0 on goals by Trottier, Tonelli, and Bossy. Let's quickly check in with the studio, and here's Stan Fischler.
Thank you, Jiggs. With the Oilers in a hole now, the Islanders still have to watch them. They have to watch and be sure that the Oilers do not ignite a rally. We've known that in the playoffs, particularly against the Calgary Flames, that the Oilers have had the knack. So that, to me, is the key now for the New York Islanders, to forecheck voraciously and to keep the Oilers from getting back in the hockey game, because if they do get if they get that goal, they might get the 2nd. And now back to Jiggs McDonald.
All right, Stan. We have just been informed of a piece of news here that Michael Bossy has been named the Islander Player of the Year, selected by Budweiser. And, of course, that's in our regular telecast. We pick a Budweiser Star of the Game. So congratulations to Michael Bossy. You take a look at what's waiting in the wings. It is here. It's all polished up for presentation tonight if the Islanders defeat the Edmonton Oilers. The Islanders, by the way, are working on their season ticket list for next season. We'll tell you more about that as the 2nd period gets underway. Gretzky was at center ice, and he has the puck now over the Islander line with a shot right on. Smith the save. It was up shoulder high, and there's Morrow to clear it. Ahead to Trottier. Brian Trottier, checked in his own zone, recovers the puck. Starts out with a pass to Clark Gillies. Gillies shot it off Fogelin. Bossy picks it up, can't get in around the defense, and here's Anderson. He was checked right at the blue line as Johnson fell in front of him. Now Lowe sends Gretzky in. Back to Lowe, and when bouncing off his stick, Anderson and Morrow collide. Brian Trottier unable to clear the puck. Gretzky put it out in front. They score! Gretzky setting up from back of the net. Put it out in front, of the Edmonton Oilers, 35 seconds into the 2nd period, are on the board.
Quick handling. Gretzky gets things going with Yeri Curry in the Islanders' end of the ice. Billy Smith looked the wrong way. There's Smith looking back there. The pass came out from behind the net, and wham! In it went Yeri Curry, getting his 8th playoff goal of this season on a beautiful pass from Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky took a smack along the side of the leg. That one did not come from Billy Smith, but he was limping as he came back to the center ice area.
The only 35 seconds into the second period. It's 3-1. Here's Gillies into the Edmonton zone with a shot. Moog the save. Charlie Huddy around the boards. Coffey failed to clear it out. Gord Lane unable to get it to the corner. Now Coffey tries the right side. Curry to Gretzky. Shoots from the blue line. Smith got in front of that. There's Gord Lane to Trottier as the Oilers are opening things up here. The Islanders force Edmonton to hustle back into their own zone. Glenn Anderson to Coffey. Paul Coffey carries it over center ice at the Islander line. Put his head down. Ran into Potvin's check. Bob Bourne with the puck. Slaps it around the boards. It'll come out to center ice. Huddy was waiting there and has stolen by Brent Sutter. Moves in off left wing. Brent Sutter to Dwayne. He got a backhander away, but Moog slid across for the pad save. Here's Brent Sutter tied up by Lumley, and now Coffey picks up the puck. Gives it to Huddy. Huddy to Gretzky. Over the Islander line. Wayne Gretzky unable to make the play as he was checked, and Wayne Sutter starts up. Bourne can't get a stick on it. Gretzky with it again. He has come to play in the second period, but he moved in offside with Huddy parked inside the blue line. We get a break in the action. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on SportsChannel.
If my eyes do not deceive me, a gentleman in the crowd again tonight, Jakes, Gordie Howe. Brian Trotier's 92 assists is now tied with Gordie Howe for the all-time Cup assist list.
One of his biggest fans is here tonight, too. My mother. Here's a chance for the Oilers trying to set it up at the blue line. Randy Gregg's shot went wide. And bouncing off the far boards. Tonelli lost the puck. Oilers unable to pick it up again. Nystrom back to Persson to Nystrom on right wing. Got it into the Edmonton zone. Chasing it is Don Jackson. Tries the right wing. Lumley tipped it over to Ralston. Out into center ice. From Ralston to Semenko across the Islander line was checked. Ralston gets a stick on it. His shot was blocked. And Billy Smith fed it to the corner for Dave Langevin. Hit hard by a check from Lumley, and a portion of the protective glass came bouncing out. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on SportsChannel.
Dave Lumley on Dave Langevin. Watch the glass behind Langevin. Boom. Comes right out of its moorings. You can see the upright that holds the glass bend way back. The glass popped out as Lumley took Langevin heavily into the boards.
Now the Islanders playing with Brent Sutter at center ice. Wayne on the right and Bourne on the left have cleared the puck back. And Fogelin moves it up to Lensman. Put it right out in front on a dangerous play. And here's Messier in control of it now. Across the Islander line. Messier is checked by Potvin. And there's a penalty coming against the New York Islanders. An interference call will send Bob Bourne to the penalty box. Andy Van Hellemond with the signal. So the Oilers with a chance to get right back into this hockey game if they can make the power play work.
Talking about Bossy, Jakes, his 17 goals this playoff year, equaling his total of 81-82, excuse me. The NHL record is 19. He's 2 behind that record. That was set by Reggie Leach back in 1976.
Well, let's see. 20 minutes, 37. Still plenty of time.
For him it is, yes. Yes, he could equal that or break it. Islanders sag a little bit here in the second period. And in that sagging, Yeri Curry scored his 3rd goal in the series against the Islanders, the finals, to make it 3-1.
Edmonton got the draw, but they had to bring it outside the Islander zone, and here's Lowe. Gave it to Ralston up the left side to Messier. Lensman and Lumley move up with him. Messier across the line. Gave it to Lensman. Moves in deep. Eddie Lensman centered one, but Goring was there around the Potvin. Potvin off the board. Breaking play down into the Edmonton zone. Billy Carroll won't be able to catch up with it. Andy Moog handed it right back to Carroll. Billy Carroll gets knocked down from behind. And here's Messier. Messier admitting now that he is playing with a separated shoulder. Lensman across the line has checked the puck loose for Goring. Cleared it off Ralston. Ralston winds up, shoots through a screen, and went over top of the net. His fifth had been knocked down at the side of the goal, and he is up screaming at the referee. Billy Carroll, in the meantime, carries the puck into the Edmonton zone. Drop pass to Potvin. Stumped by Lumley, and the Oilers have a break. Into center ice on the left side is Anderson. Now to Gretzky. Gretzky over the blue line. Cutting to the right. Fed it through. Billy Carroll broke up the play. Morrow clears it, but not out. Lowe can't handle it. And Goring works it into center ice. Wayne Gretzky is checked momentarily by Carroll. Now Potvin shoots it into the Edmonton zone, and Moog moves out of the net to cut it off with 50 seconds remaining in Bourne's penalty time. Kevin and low to Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky at center ice. Flips it into the Islander territory. Langevin and Curry in a race for it. Jari Curry picks it up. Put it off to the side of the net. That was cleared by Johnson and Smith. Langevin slaps it out of the Islander zone.
Dave Langevin using his extreme strength, his good strength, his quick strength to backhand that puck right in front of an Edmonton Oiler down the ice.
Now Gretzky on left wing couldn't handle Curry's pass. We watched Thomas Johnson backing in deeper around to the left side to Langevin. Langevin poked at it, couldn't make contact. It's centered out in front, and Gretzky shot it wide after Anderson had set him up. Anders Kaller has cleared it down the ice. Bourne on his feet, still with 7 seconds to serve. Here's Huddy around to the right side, out into center ice. Charlie Huddy across the line with a pass to Gretzky. A shot steered aside by Smith. Anders Kaller slaps the puck ahead for Bourne. Couldn't handle it. Now drops it back to Langevin. Right side to Goring. Coffey took Goring off the play. Curry, meanwhile, covers up for Edmonton. Jari Curry's pass. Right onto Johnson's stick. He gave it to Bossy. To Trottier. Breaks it over the line. A pass to Gillies. He shoots. That one high and wide. Bossy chasing the rebound. Knocked it away from Coffey. Then couldn't recover. And Curry beats it out of the reach of Gretzky at center ice. Ryan Trottier back for the Islanders. What a series he has had. Not only this series, but throughout the playoffs. Potvin up the far side to Mike Bossy. Now to Potvin. Comes over the line. Got turned around. Johnson shoots it in. Comes back to the right point. Mark Gillies teed it up for Bossy. Bossy cuts into the middle of the ice. Back to Gillies. Lets a shot go. Moore down on his knees. Able to make the save. And Gregg cleared the rebound. 3-1. Islanders leading Edmonton. We're early in the second period as Hunter shoots the puck into the Islanders zone. That's Potvin back for it. Danny Potvin trying to get away from the check. Up the right side. Held in by Jackson. A shot blocked by Billy Smith. Leaves it for Gord Lane. Now to Gillies. Mark Gillies dumps the puck to center ice. That's Jackson for the Edmonton Oilers. Handed it right to Trottier. Ryan Trottier backhands the puck deep in the Edmonton zone. The Islanders in the middle of the player change. Here's Jackson. To Hunter. Set it back to Cote. Comes over center ice. Cote across the Islander line. Trying to get around Persson. Is chased to the corner and hit hard. Wayne Merrick picks up the puck. Set it to Nystrom. Bobby Nystrom pulled it away from Jackson. It goes back to the goal. Comes out in front of the Islander net. There's Merrick. Merrick fires it to center ice. Gregg has it for Edmonton. Now the Hunter shoots it into the Islander end of the ice. Billy Smith cuts it off. It'll be picked up by one of the Oilers. Lynchman put it out in front. A loose puck, and it goes to Nystrom. Now to John Tonelli. Into center ice. Jackson chasing him. Tonelli moves in. Shoots. What a stop by Moog. And the rebound hopped over Nystrom's stick. He was filled into the back of the net by Lindstrom. And here come the Oilers. Lindstrom on right wing. Got it to Hunter. And his pass is cut off by Tonelli. Tonelli to Wayne Merrick. Merrick unable to get out of his own zone. Into center ice. This is Lindstrom. Checked by John Tonelli. Tonelli comes over the Edmonton line, winds up for a drive, and it hit Fogelin, ends up in the seats. There's a break in the action here. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals.
John Tonelli's shot stopped by Andy Moog. Good shot by Tonelli. Good stop by Moog. Look at Bob Nystrom as he went cartwheeling over top of the goaltender. Moog came up holding his right shoulder like he'd hurt it.
And now Lowe has given the puck to Fogelin. The Oilers, who have shown a little more command in the game here in the second period, have dumped it into the Islanders zone. Morrow around to Bourne. Bourne got it ahead for Brent Sutter. Dwayne Sutter moves up the right wing, cuts to the left as Brent comes over the line. Moves in around Fogelin, lost the handle on the puck. Dwayne Sutter into the corner, jabbed it loose, and Lowe got back in time. Kevin Lowe. And the goaltender, Moog, has a broken stick to worry about at the moment as Dwayne Sutter tries to hold the puck in at the line, can't do it. Brent Sutter drops it back to Johnson. Johnson to Morrow, tips it into center ice. Dwayne Sutter can't pick it up. Here's Semenko. The goaltender may play with a broken stick, and the bottom portion of it is safely in the hand of Andy Moog. Now the puck has been dumped into the Islander end of the ice. Mark Gillies trying to move up the left side. Is knocked off the play. Big Semenko clears it out to center ice, and here's Dwayne Sutter. Sutter fires one that went bouncing off Coffey. Lowe gives it right back to Coffey. All Coffey to Messier. Moog would like his team to get a whistle so he can get a new stick, but there's nothing happening in that respect. Here's Bossy with it. Mike Bossy comes over the line. Bossy puts his head down around Coffey. Shoots over the glove save by Moog. Charlie Huddy plays it up the left wing. Messier comes to center ice. The pass to Linsman. Linsman across the line. Why don't the Oilers get a play stoppage to ice it? The Islanders trying to get control of the puck in their own zone. It comes back to Coffey, and a shot blocked in front by Potvin. Danny Potvin up to Bossy on right wing. Into the Edmonton zone. Bossy pulls it away from the check. Goes rink wide. Potvin is headed for a player change. Well, he stays out there. The Islanders unable to pick up the puck, and here's Messier. Messier to Coffey. Shoots, and that goes up into the seats. And now they'll get a new goal stick for Andy Moog.
Here's the broken stick. There's Andy Moog as he swings it up into the midsection of Dwayne Sutter. Sutter run into him, coming out of the back behind the net. Moog chopped him in the midsection, broke his stick. Not a kind of a shot that would hurt one of the players, but something that Billy Smith gets accused of regularly. I think Smith has a little more experience and probably does it with a little more force when he wants to.
You telling me that chop wouldn't have hurt Wayne Gretzky or Glenn Anderson?
No, I wouldn't get in on that one.
Here's Goring in the Edmonton end of the ice, playing it around the boards. Islanders up 3-1. They led 3-0 at the end of the first period. The Oilers struck at the 35-second mark of the second period. Anders Kaller and Gregg bumped together at center. That's Tonelli, and his pass was intercepted. Across the line comes Anderson. Anderson backhanders Smith down to make the save. Cleared it aside for John Tonelli. Longeman pokes it to the corner. It's picked up by Goring. Butch Goring to Longeman to Kaller. Anders Kaller bumped by Jackson. The Oilers move into center. Longeman stepped into Anderson with a heavy hit on the boards. Kaller tries the puck loose. Gave it to Stefan Persson. Across to Longeman. Longeman knocked it away from Gretzky. Comes to center with a pass to Kaller across the Edmonton line, and the puck ends up in the corner. There's Gray. Up to Randy Gray. He left it for Curry. We played just over 10 minutes of the second period. Jackson mishandled the puck, and now it's cleared out of the Edmonton zone by Curry. Anderson comes to center ice. Curry moves up left wing. A drop pass. Curry is shot. That whistled wide of the net. Wayne Sutter on right wing has flipped it into the center ice zone. Evan Lowe is back for Edmonton. Tonelli moves up to forecheck on him. Here's Lowe across the blue line. Evan Lowe puts on the brakes. Ran into a check from Johnson. The puck went to Smith, and he covers up in a hurry. Sticks up a little. Hunter and Morrow. Wayne Sutter there as well. Not a whole lot of damage. A break in the action. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals exclusively on Sports Channel. Getting ready for a face-off in the Islander end of the ice.
You know that here in the two games between the Oilers and the Islanders, Jigs, every goal scored, 10 of them has been scored in the same net, the one Billy Smith is defending right now.
Where are you coming up
Just
with
a
that?
little oddity. Well, it's unusual that you have 10 goals in 2 games, and they've all come in the same net.
Yeah, it is. All right. Bob Bourne feeds the puck over to Brent Sutter on right wing. He shoots. Moog the save. He held on to it. It was bouncing away from him, but he was able to recover the puck, and now they're calling for the Edmonton trainer. Peter Miller is coming out to attend to Andy Moog after having made that save. He went down on his shoulder. You pointed out earlier that he seemed to favor his shoulder, Eddie.
Take a look at the shot from Brent Sutter. As Sutter come down the right wing side, the shoulder that he was complaining about was his right one. Here's Brent Sutter as he tees it up. He lets a high, hard one go. It caught him up on the right shoulder. Now, Bob Nystrom got tumbled into the net earlier in the period, and Moog was complaining about his right shoulder, and Brent Sutter, with this hard shot that's rising quickly, hit Moog right in the same place. Now, it's up around his neck area, and a lot of times goaltenders get hit in around the neck, shoulder, neck area, and it temporarily sets them down.
The backup goaltender, Grant Fuhr, has come out to check on the condition of Moog. You know that the Oilers are going to try and keep him in there if at all possible. The gentleman with his hand up to his mouth at the moment, you just saw, is Dennis Popvan's father. Armand Popvan is here. A lot of stories concerning what's been happening in the Popvan family. And I've got to say this, Armand looks very, very well. I had a chance to talk to him before the game. Hopefully get a chance to visit with him after as well. And there is Andy Moog, all set to go to work again. Capacity crowd, as you might imagine, enjoying the game here at the Coliseum, except for the few who have made the trip from Edmonton. The Islanders are leading 3-1. Couple of false starts in the face-off. Messier is trying to line up in the face-off circle. The draw came back to Lane from the blue line. His shot changed direction as it hit Fogelin. Now Lane can't get a stick on it. It's loose. Linsman hustles it after it. Trying to feed it back to Messier, who missed the pass. And there's Bourne around the boards. Fogelin moves in. He's Fogelin trying to set up Linsman behind the net. Manny Potvin got it loose for Lane to Dwayne Sutter. Is hit hard after making the play. The puck ends up in center ice. Messier controlling it. Messier's pass intercepted by Bourne, who fed it to Potvin. Manny Potvin got to center, shot it into the Edmonton end of the ice. Low with Dwayne Sutter right on top of him. Sutter forced him off the puck. Dwayne Sutter trying to put it out in front. Bad save originally by Moog. They continue to bang at it, and now Trottier digs it loose to Potvin. A drive through a screen, and it sailed wide. A penalty call coming against Edmonton as Bourne cleared the puck. An interference call will be handed out against the Oilers. The New York Islanders going to the power play with a break in the action. 8:26 left in the second period. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on
Kevin Lowe
SportsChannel.
takes Clark Gillies down to the right of Andy Moog. Down goes Gillies. Kevin Lowe gets an interference penalty. So the Islanders leading 3-1, 8:26 remaining here in the second period. Go to the power play.
The power play was the 5th best in the regular season on home ice. The Islanders scored 43 power play goals. Second best team at home this past season. We watch Johnson move in, fakes his shot, gave it to Potvin. He shoots. That went wide. The whistle has sounded, and we've got a call here. Referee Andy Van Helleman appears to have signaled both Clark Gillies.
Jackson, I think, is the culprit for Edmonton. Some pretty heavy going in front of the net. Two big fellas, Clark Gillies and number 29, Don Jackson. Let's take a look. There's Andy Moog as he tries to size up the shot he expects to get. There's the checking heavy in front of the net. Jackson takes a piece of Gillies. Clark Gillies must have done something we didn't see on the replay. High sticking the call. Gillies and Don Jackson.
Anders Kaller will come out to replace Gillies. Those coincidental minor penalties mean that the Islanders will continue to play 6 against 5. On the draw, the puck is cleared finally. Rolls right to Billy Smith, put the big catching glove on it, and gives it to Denny Potvin. Just a little more than 8 minutes remaining in the second period. I'm Jiggs McDonald with Ed Westfall and Stan Fischler here at the Nassau Coliseum. We watch Johnson move into Kaller, but it was offside. He tipped the puck in the net. The Moog had eased up. The fans didn't realize that the whistle has sounded. They continue to cheer, but it's still going to be a 3-1 score with 1 minute and 35 seconds left in the penalty.
No argument from the Islanders, Jiggs. I knew that Kaller was a half a step ahead of the play as he raced in to Edmonton's end of the ice. Thomas Johnson was working down the left wing side. Dennis Potvin tried to get the puck to him, and when he did, Kaller had just jumped ahead by a half a step.
Now Trottier will take this face-off. On it back to Potvin at the center ice stripe to Trottier, over to Bossy, comes in on his off wing to Trottier, back into the corner to Bossy. Tried to go back to the net, was knocked down. Anders Kaller works off the boards, can't control the puck. There will be a penalty against Kaller coming up as he took a slash at the Oiler player. Edmonton trying to set up as Hughes. His check play is called, and Anders Kaller is headed for the penalty box. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on SportsChannel.
Joining Clark Gillies in the Islander penalty box, Anders Kaller, an unusual penalty for Kaller, a high sticking penalty. Got it up around the ears of the Edmonton left winger. It's waved in the box, nullifying the Islander power play.
1 minute and 10 seconds remaining in the original minor penalty against Edmonton. The team's at 5 aside at the moment. We watch Langevin starting out. 3-1, the Islanders on top. All of the Islander goals came in the first period. Here's Trottier over the line. Turn to get away from Randy Gregg. Across to Persson. Steps into the middle. Lets his shot go. Couldn't pick it off, really. Now turns. Gives it to Trottier. Into Brent Sutter. He is tied up from behind. Trottier gives it to Langevin at the blue line. Lets a shot fly. Kicked out by Moog. A big rebound, and it's taken by Ralston. To Messier over the Islander line. Messier shot on target. Smith able to make the stop. There's Langevin. Slapped it to the corner. Stephen Persson gets a stick on it. Gave it to Brent Sutter. Sutter had it stolen by Ralston, but with Messier still in the Islander end of the ice, it is offside.
I'd like to again welcome our SportsChannel or Cablevision Management Group meeting. They're watching us live from Bermuda. I want to say hi to the guys in Bermuda. I hope they're playing the Mid-Ocean Golf Course.
I hope John Tata didn't swallow the end of the cigar that he probably chewed off when Curry scored early in the second period. John actually runs the Islanders. He just phones in who he wants in the lineup and things like that.
You trying to think got a direct line to Al Arbor?
Yeah. Well, he's got Bill Torrey's here in any event. This is Gretzky on the left side, coming over the Islander line, trying to make the play. Let's see what he does here. Gretzky holding on to the puck is checked, and Brent Sutter breaks out. Wayne moves up the left wing, takes the puck over the Edmonton line, back to Brent Sutter. He shoots, Moog the save, and he holds on to it.
They'll team up well, the brothers Sutter, as they break away. What a check they made on Gretzky to take the puck away from him and march on down the ice. Here they go. Dwayne Sutter to Brent. The puck bouncing and rolling. He gets a high shot away. The rebound, he tapped away at it again, but Moog was in front of the puck, playing the angle perfectly. There's the high shot where Brent Sutter hurt him a few minutes earlier. Moog made the stop and covered the rebound.
Only 4 seconds remaining in Lowe's penalty. And the Oilers will have a manpower advantage for the next 45 seconds, barring further penalties. We watch Billy Carroll line up against Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky got the face-off for Coffey over to the right side. This is Charlie Huddy. Lowe is back on. Took the pass and escapes. Lost it at the blue line. A delayed offside is called now as it hit Anderson. And we have 6 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the period.
Bob Nystrom has gone to the Islanders bench, Diggs. We do not have any word on the reason for that, but if we can find out, we'll pass that along. But Nystrom has gone to the Islanders dressing room.
He went into the net. May have caught a piece of the post when he went in behind the Edmonton goaltender earlier in this period. Paul Coffey making the play. Curry drops it back. This is Anderson trying to get away from Carroll. Comes out on the right side. Goring chases him. Anderson comes over the line. Drop pass to Gretzky to Curry. Moves in. His shot went wide. As Smith came out to meet it. And the rebound ends up in the center ice zone. Paul Coffey for Edmonton. They watch them on their power play. Coffey check. Picks up the puck again. Then Curry has stepped across the line. The pass back to Coffey didn't work. Anderson can't control the puck. And here's Kenny Morrow. Anders Kaller is back on as the Islanders move over the line. Morrow around Huddy, a backhander kicked out by Moog. Just put the pad in front of it, and the Oilers start out on the left wing side. Gretzky picking up the puck. Wayne Gretzky went rink wide to Charlie Huddy. Out of Curry, who comes over the line, bothered by Trottier. Curry trying to cut to the left wing on the backhand, turns, plays it across on the right side. That's Fogelin. Lets one go, and it was way wide of the net. Bounces off the boards and out to center ice. Kevin Lowe back for Edmonton. Teams are at 6 aside. Lowe gave it to Messier. Mark Messier bothered by Kaller. Trottier picked it off. Banked one off the boards. There's Fogelin waiting. Got it into the Islanders zone and right to puck man. That's to Kaller at center ice. Anders Kaller tried to hit Bossy, who was in full flight on the right side. It didn't work. Kenny Morrow goes the other way. Playing it off Fogelin. Back into the Edmonton zone goes Lowe. Kevin Lowe to Messier on left wing. Here's Mark Messier into the Islanders zone. In front to Hughes. Missed the save on Hughes. It comes right out in front, and Bill Smith is able to clear it to Potvin, and the Islanders have dumped it to center ice. Coming back is Lowe. 4.5 minutes to play in the second period. Lowe goes up the middle. The pass relayed into the Islanders zone and steered aside by Bill Smith for Dave Langevin. Langevin to Stefan Persson. Persson plays it off the boards for John Tonelli. He has one of the 3 goals. We watch him move into the Edmonton zone. Got turned around by Lowe and knocked down. They went into the boards heavily. The Oilers have come to center ice. Lumley missed an ankle with the pass. Stefan Persson to Bossy. Steps in over the Edmonton line. Bossy trying to come in. Shoots Lowe. The pass, or Moog rather, the pass save as Lowe tried to cut Bossy off. Lowe to Ralston. Now to Semenko. Semenko's long shot steered aside by Billy Smith. Unable to play it cleanly to the corner. There's Wayne Merrick. Dumps it to the other corner. Charlie Huddy moves in deep. Played it to the back of the Islander net. That's cleared away. Wayne Merrick slapping at it and shot it down the boards. There'll be an icing call against the New York Islanders. We'll get a break in the action with just over 3.5 minutes to play in the second period. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on SportsChannel.
You know that the Islanders are the NHL's most successful playoff team. 676. 600.676. That's what their percentage is. Montreal's is next. 6-1-5.
Since their very first playoff game back in 1975, the Islanders have 92 wins, 44 losses, and 136 games. We just saw Billy Smith cover the puck to the right side of the net. 16 straight series the Islanders have won since 1979's loss to the New York Rangers. We watch Brian Trottier lining up against Gretzky. Anderson had stepped into the face-off circle. He's trying to realign. He's trying to face off on the wrong side of Kenny Morrow. Well, it would be nice if it worked, but nothing doing as the linesman caught it. And the Islanders cleared the puck into center ice. That's Randy Gregg on the Edmonton defense across to Jackson. Don Jackson to Gretzky. He's into the Islanders zone. Faked the shot, gave it to Jackson. Moves right in. Smith the pad save, and he is covered up on it.
A timely hook of the arms from behind as Gretzky puts Jackson in. And just as he went to pull the trigger, Ken Morrow got a piece of his arms, throwing his stick off the puck. Watch Gretzky fake the shot. Passed it to Jackson. Now watch Ken Morrow right there, his stick. Right as Jackson went to shoot it, he fanned on the puck because Ken Morrow had pulled his arms, throwing him off his timing as he tried to get the shot away as he moved in close on Billy Smith. Take a look again. Look at the quickness of Gretzky. At the stick up, fake the shot, and then that little tug by Ken Morrow on the arms of Don Jackson prevented a good opportunity by Edmonton at Billy Smith.
Now Morrow, after the face-off, has given the puck to Goring. Butch Goring across to Morrow, has Kaller with him on the right side, brings the puck into the Edmonton zone, and he and Jackson give chase. Anders Kaller came up with it up to Goring, and he shot it wide. Kaller is decked in front of the net as Jackson got a piece of him. Here's Goring on the right side. Butch Goring lost it. Anderson shoots it around the boards. Curry on the far wing. Let it go to Wayne Gretzky. Comes down the side boards and is taken off the puck by Potvin. Butch Goring, long pass to Kaller. Jackson pushing at him again. Kaller gives it to John Tonelli. Tonelli trying to cut in around Curry. A backhander is blocked. The rebound is loose in front and finally covered by Andy Moe. Gregg came off the board, swinging his stick at Tonelli, but nothing develops there. We have 2.5 minutes remaining in the second period.
See the mark on Andy Van Helleman's face, Jigs, along his left temple. That occurred when he tripped over the red carpet used by Joe Dewar to sing the national anthem prior to the game.
And he was just trying to get our attention, I think. Trottier moving in. He and Lowe go to the corner together. Bossy poking at the puck. It's in Lowe's skates. Lotte fired it around the boards. There's Langevin back to the net to Trottier. Trottier to Bossy, and it was broken up in front. Kevin Lowe made the play on that one. Here's Persson into Trottier. Out again, and here's Gillies with a backhander that went off the stick. Bossy pries it loose. And back of the net, Gillies shot just went wide as Bossy set him up. Now Wayne Gretzky and Brian Trottier. Now Gillies forced to freeze it in the corner to the right. The Islanders with some chances, but missing the target.
They want to finish the period with a flurry at Andy Moe. Only goal of the period went to Yeri Curry back at the 35-second mark early in the second period when Curry scored his 8th playoff goal from Gretzky, making it 3-1. Clark Gillies, the opportunity there as the puck came out from Brian Trottier. In close to the net. The pass has to be very quick in order that it's not intercepted or at least deflected by the goaltender. Tough to make that shot count.
Now with 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining in the period, Coffey played it to the right wing. Picked up at center ice by Huddy. Comes over the line with a shot. That one bouncing off Potvin and into the seats. Now 1 minute and 39 seconds remaining. Should the Oilers explode here, forcing Game 5, it would be played in Edmonton on Thursday night. And then if the series should go 6 games, the schedule calls for the two teams to meet here again at the Coliseum on Saturday night, and we would have that game for you exclusively on SportsChannel. Should the series, for some strange reason, go the entire 7 games, it would conclude in Edmonton a week from tonight.
You mean there's the possibility of 1 more week?
That's what I mean. A line shot from the blue line, and Billy Smith got in front of that, clutched the puck to his chest protector, and held on.
The Islanders, Jigs, have won 8 straight final games. Imagine that, 8 straight. The record is 11, set by Montreal. But the Islanders have now won 8.
One against Minnesota to complete that series. A sweep with Vancouver. 3 straight over the Edmonton Oilers in this series.
You got that right. Well done, Jiggs.
Remember them well. Trottier on the draw. Tried the puck away from Lindsman. Starts down the left side. Trottier into center ice. Fed it back to Goring. Butch Goring ridden into the boards by Lindstrom. Now Goring recovers, and Lindstrom was right there with him. Charlie Huddy moved it outside the Edmonton line. It's in Trottier's skates and picked up and shot wide of the net by Butch Goring. We watch Paul Coffey for Edmonton, sending Messier down the left side. Morrow stepped into him. Here's Kenny Lindsman faking the shot, holding on to the puck, centered. Loose puck is cleared, and it'll come outside the blue line. Huddy, Emory Edge Award winner for this past season. Huddy gave it to Coffey, then right back to Charlie Huddy. Into center ice, out of the reach of Lindsman. There's Johnson. Johnson and Lindsman wrestle one another into the corner. The Oilers center it out in front. It bounced away from Coffey after Morrow had tied up his man. From the blue line, Lindsman's shot. That changed direction. Ends up in the corner on the stick of Caller, around to the left wing. And out into center ice as Tonelli took the man. The puck slides harmlessly into the Edmonton zone. This is Coffey with 26 seconds left in the period. He sends Fogelin into the Islander zone. Lee Fogelin's shot was deflected. Caller is knocked down. They score! Messier picks up a loose puck. And it is 3-2 with 21 seconds left in the period.
That could change the complexion of the hockey game for the Edmonton Oilers. And, of course, the Islanders. As Messier, led by Fogelin, his shot deflected. Messier knocked down Anders Caller and put that fine shot over the left shoulder of Billy Smith. Messier, who has been very quiet in this hockey game in this series, took the feet out from underneath Caller. Timely play by Messier as he puts it in, making the score 3-2. That's his 15th playoff goal.
Now Brent Sutter moving in deep, fed it across the goal mouth in the Edmonton zone, and the Oilers quickly have dumped it into center ice. Potvin over, flipped it into the Edmonton end of the ice again, and we watch the clock tick down the final 3 seconds. That is going to do it, but the Edmonton Oilers, with that goal in the final minute of the period, have set up all the drama we could ask for going to the final period. But after 2, our score here at the Nassau Coliseum is the New York Islanders 3, the Edmonton Oilers 2.
3-0 lead went up in smoke. Gary Curry, Mark Messier getting the goals, and I distinctly remember in the Sports Channel studio feeling, what's going on here? Why does this have to happen? And I'm sure Al Arbour was saying the same thing in the dressing room.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly in the game plan, because we were going to go out there and get the next goal and put them away, but that's not the case. Certainly, the first goal was the one that probably hurt us the most, because it was actually in the first minute of play. And again, it's the psychology of a hockey game. It's the ebb, and it's going up and down. And I think that to a certain extent, we felt maybe a little overconfident. And all of a sudden, Edmonton roared back. And they were in our face and basically put 2 goals on the board, and it was anyone's hockey game from that point on.
Well, not only was it anyone's hockey game, but there were some people up in the press box who felt that if Edmonton could win this hockey game, they could really come back with all the firepower that they had. Now, were you feeling a little worried about that?
Well, we weren't thinking so much as to the series, but we were thinking about that one game. We were thinking about the fact that, yes, we could put it away right here. Do you want to travel all the way back to Edmonton and play that next game? We just did not want to have to do that. But, you know, again, we had to shut down their big guns, and 2 of them had just scored in the second period. So we had to pull up our socks a little bit.
Well, one of them was not Wayne Gretzky, and how did you keep him off the scoreboard?
Well, one of the things that we tried to do, certainly Wayne Gretzky is so adept at bringing players to him. You know, he's such a great player that all of a sudden he makes that little turn, that classic turn just inside the blue line. So all of a sudden you got the defenseman keying on him, and now all of a sudden the forward coming back wants to go to him. Now what happens then? All of a sudden he's got Curry wide open, or, you know, he's got other players that he can move the puck to. So what we spoke about every day is that let the defenseman handle Gretzky. He's not going to beat our defenseman one-on-one, but we've got to pick up those loose men rather than doubling up on him.
If you remember, in 1980, when you had a 2-goal lead going into the 3rd period, you were almost tasting the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Well, now you've got 3 cups, and you've got a 1-goal lead going into the third period. Did you make the mistake of tasting it prematurely?
We did not. We were pretty serious about that. I got to say that we had an educated team, Stan, because we learned from past experiences. We knew with this team we were going to be in a hockey game right to the bitter end. And there was so much firepower out there, and especially on the power play side. We knew that we were going to have to stay out of the penalty box. And, you know, that's the way we would try to approach the third period.
Well, the Islanders can keep Edmonton from scoring. It's their 4th straight Stanley Cup. Let's go to the third period and see.
Bourne is ready to take the face-off for the Islanders. Gretzky had been moved out, so Curry comes in to face off, and it went immediately to Brian Trottier. Flipped it out of his own zone to center ice. Here's Bob Bourne getting a stick on it. Ahead to Bossy. Bossy shot it off the boards. Moog leaves it back in the net. Bob Bourne has been replaced by Clark Gillies, who's out now with Bossy and Trottier. Janssen backing up in defense. Got it to Bossy. Back to Janssen. Thomas Janssen to Kenny Morrow. Morrow checked in his own zone. Curry trying to move in. Is knocked off the puck by Bossy. And Gillies backhands it into the Edmonton territory. This is Don Jackson across to Gregg. Randy Gregg fired one off the boards to Gretzky, or at least intended for him. He's hanging around the center ice stripe most of the time now. Randy Gregg to Gretzky. Burns gave the puck to Anderson, who was knocked away from him. Goring forces the Oilers back. This is Anderson on left wing. Len Anderson shot it high and wide. Potvin overskated it. Curry moves in, kicked it to Nystrom. Now to Tonelli. Tonelli down the left side, across the Edmonton line. Cuts to the right. Tonelli around Kogelin. His shot was blocked. Good stop there by Andy Moog. Tonelli pries the puck off the boards. Unable to set up Nystrom, however, and Wayne Gretzky dumps it into center ice. Potvin waited for Nystrom to get back onside. Shot it around the boards. Lane moves in off the right point. Got a piece of Hunter, who goes the other way with it now. Hunter. Well, he just gave it to Lowe, and it shot down into the Islanders zone, and Edmonton is going to be called for having iced the puck. 3 minutes and 10 seconds gone in this final period. And look at Wayne Sutter, who has had himself an excellent playoff, teamed up with Brent Sutter and Bob Bourne for the most part.
Coming into tonight's game, 21 points apiece. Brent Sutter and Dwayne Sutter. Brent did it en route with 10 goals, 11 assists. His brother Dwayne, 9 goals and 12 assists. Of course, Bob Bourne, their left winger, leads the Islanders in scoring with 28 points coming into tonight's game.
Now Wayne Merrick centers for Anders Kaller and Clark Gillies. The draw comes back to Persson from the blue line, and he just rifled one wide. And Hughes cleared it into center ice. Langevin moved back, couldn't get a stick on it, and the Oilers did, but were offside. Hunter and Merrick shoving at one another. Langevin right there. Hunter backs away, and we'll get a face-off. Merrick over center ice, 2-on-1 with Gillies into the Edmonton zone. Merrick to Gillies, and he couldn't get the pass onto his stick. Back come the Oilers. This is Hunter. Hunter across to Ralston, comes in on the right side. Ralston chased back to the net by Langevin. Hunter picks up the puck. Hunter put it out in front, but right to Clark Gillies. Gillies leads the Islanders over center ice, shot it into the Edmonton zone. Lowe picks it up. Islanders change on the fly. Kevin Lowe into center ice, gave it to Dave Hunter. Shot it wide of the net. Gretzky in after it. Bob Bourne takes it away from him. Rounds the net. Outskates Gretzky. Bourne into center ice. Across the Edmonton line. Bob Bourne chased back to the goal. Comes out in front. Shot it right to the goal mouth. One of those rink-length dashes again for Robert Bourne. Now Coffey into the Islanders zone. Right side to Gretzky. Janssen poked at it and got it out to center. Down into the Edmonton zone. Just over the goal line, but icing was waved off. Lumley gives it to Charlie Huddy. 4.5 minutes gone in the final period. Huddy at the blue line, a drop pass to Gretzky. Centered out in front. Fought Messier's stick, and the Islanders come over the center ice stripe. Tonelli across the Edmonton line, lost a handle on it, plays it into the corner now to Brent Sutter. Brent Sutter sneaks away from Huddy. At the back of the net, can't get it out in front. Went after it a second time, but Gretzky came up with the loose puck. Wayne Gretzky into the Islanders zone. What will he do this time? Cut it off neatly, but Messier couldn't hold the pass. Wayne Sutter takes it away from Messier. It's tangled up with Lumley. It's in Wayne Sutter's skates. Lumley hacking at him. Sutter is taking a lot of time. As long as he keeps the puck moving, that's okay. But now it's frozen, and we'll get a face-off. A break in the action. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on SportsChannel. Jackson in the penalty box. The Islanders on the power play. Bossy, Trottier, and Kaller move to the Edmonton line. Couldn't get across the blue line. Now Kaller unable to pick up the puck. He was knocked down, and we watch Lowe move in with a shot that went wide of Billy Smith. Stefan Persson back of the net. Persson up the right side. It went off Bossy's stick. Kevin Lowe chases it. Jackson for roughing at the 5:10 mark is the penalty call against Edmonton. And now we're going to face off coming here with 1 minute and 29 seconds remaining in that penalty.
Islanders could do themselves a lot of good, Jigs, by getting a goal here on the power play. On the other side, if Edmonton are able to kill it off, that's going to give them the incentive to go ahead. They know they're in behind the Islanders 8-ball. 3-2, the Islanders leading. 14:19 remaining in the third period. Jackson in the penalty box for 1 minute and 29 seconds still. A roughing penalty when he cross-checked and took down Brent Sutter.
Some fans starting to get to Jackson. He turned around and yelled back at them, and that's got everybody going. Now Trottier wins the faceoff. Persson moves it over to Potvin. He's shooting, and that one over top of the net. Comes back on the left side. Out to center ice comes Gretzky. And Potvin sliding across. Took the feet out from under Messier. We watch Persson. Stefan Persson carries it over the center ice stripe. Into the Edmonton zone. The pass went to Mike Bossy. To Trottier. Back to Potvin. He moves in. He shoots. Knocked down in front. Bossy's backhander went wide. Trottier and Fogelin butt together. And here's Kevin Lowe. Lowe ahead to Messier. Long shot from center ice. Hit Potvin. Skips into the corner to the right of Billy Smith. 13 minutes and 40 seconds left in regulation time. The Oilers move into forecheck. Pat Hughes trying to go round behind the net. Brent Sutter picked up the puck. Got sandwiched with Hunter. They try to freeze it and succeed with 13:30 left on the clock and only 40 seconds remaining in Jackson's roughing penalty.
Pretty good job of killing off most of the penalty to Jackson. Edmonton has had a couple of cracks at Billy Smith. Islanders have yet to get a good one at Andy Moog. Brian Trottier and Bossy got in earlier, but they did not get a shot away. The fans know how important it is for the Islanders to do something on this power play.
Third manpower advantage of the game for the New York Islanders. They're 1 of 2. Edmonton has been unsuccessful on 3 power play chances tonight. Pat Hughes chasing the puck following the face-off. Dwayne Sutter went to the far boards, couldn't control it. The Oilers have moved it out into center ice. Shot right back into the Islanders zone and picked up by Potvin on the delayed offside. Potvin over to Johnson. Johnson carries it into the center ice zone. Shot it wide of Andy Moog. Moog comes out of the net, covers up on the puck with 17 seconds left in the Islander power play.
Have to know that Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, Anderson are all going to get a lot of ice time here in the third period. Gretzky back out there again. He seems to be skating a little better. He's getting a little more room to handle the puck and skate with it, Jigs. And, of course, that's the success that the Islanders have had against Gretzky, is that they've shut him down through the center ice area, have not allowed him the momentum to bring it on into the Islanders' end.
Now he leads the rush down this right side. 22-year-old Wayne Gretzky unable to set up Curry. Here's Bossy. The Brent Sutter went off his skates. Bossy moves up. Kevin Lowe held his ground, gave the puck to Gretzky. Jackson is back out on the ice, and here's Gretzky moving it to the blue line. Messier couldn't handle it, and this is Bob Bourne. Lost it. Messier, left side. Ralston into the Islander zone. He was checked by Bourne. Wayne Sutter shot it high, goes up into the seats, and we get a break in the action. You're watching Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals on SportsChannel. There's the situation at the Coliseum. 3-2 Islanders. Just 12.5 minutes remaining in the game in regulation time. The Edmonton Oilers start out of their own zone. Huddy gave it to Hughes. Goring stepped in front of him and fed the puck to Nystrom. Slaps it off the boards back into the Edmonton zone. Coffey tries the right wing for Pat Hughes. Hughes pulls it away from Langevin. Went the other way and handed it to John Tonelli. Tonelli unable to come off the boards. The puck loose. Nystrom steps into his man, and Goring fires it in deeper. Now Charlie Huddy carries it over center ice. Shot it high in the air into the Islanders zone. It came to the front of the net, and Billy Smith covered up on it. Cote flipped it out quickly. It'll be a face-off. deep in the Islander territory. There's so many possibilities when you think of the Conn Smythe Trophy that goes to the player adjudged to be the best in the playoffs. Billy Smith would be one. Bob Bourne, we've talked about so many. You can't overlook Denny Potvin or Brian Trottier, Michael Bossy. Go on the Islander side. Several Oilers would qualify too, even if they don't win the Stanley Cup.
Prior to coming up against the Islanders, players like Messier, who have scored hat tricks in the Stanley Cup. Of course, Gretzky is always still leads the playoffs in scoring. There's always a possibility. My vote right now go to Billy Smith.
Mine too, and there's one of the reasons why. He just demonstrated a cool approach to the game, the ability to see the puck and make big saves as we watch this one right from the draw.
These are the kind of things that'll hurt the Islanders, Jigs. A face-off and the Islanders end. They lose it, and Smith has to be sharp on a partially screened shot. He picked it off with his catching mitt as the fans chant Billy.
Ball started the face-off. Anderson reached over and pulled the helmet off Thomas Johnson as he wrapped his arm around his head. The fans on the far side of the ice react to that. And Anderson is being warned by Andy Van Hellemond, native of Vancouver. One of the outstanding left wings in the game today. The puck came right back to Jackson again. He moved in, loose puck. Smith pokes it aside. It's picked up by Linsman. There's a penalty coming against the New York Islanders. Thomas Johnson, I believe, has been fingered by referee Andy Van Hellemond. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on SportsChannel.
Anderson and Thomas Johnson. The Islanders losing important face-offs, 2 in a row. There's Thomas Johnson holding on to Anderson, pulled him down. See the arm of referee Andy Van Hellemond in the background, raised, signaling the penalty to Thomas Johnson for holding.
The penalty at 8:16 of this final period. Linsman and Trottier are waved out of the face-off area. Goring on the draw against Gretzky, and it comes right back to the blue line. That's Paul Coffey on the power play to Curry. In front of the net, Linsman turns with the puck, got it back to Curry, into Linsman, and now play has been called. Anderson apparently did something to Billy Smith, who went tumbling to the ice. I didn't see what, but I saw Smith going down.
I did see it. Anderson hit him across the side of the head, around the ear with a stick. Smith rolling around on the ice. Now, the old Wolfgang. Could Billy Smith actually be hurt? He hit him on the side of the head. Ron Waske is going to be the first to find out. Maybe Billy Smith is trying to draw the 5-minute penalty on Anderson that he got against Anderson back in the first game. Smith is still down on the ice. I would think that he'd have stopped by now, Jiggs, if he was not injured. He's on all fours trying to get up.
Trainer Ron Waske attending to Billy Smith. Roland Melanson is out there as well. He's going to take a little time. Anderson is going to the penalty box, and you're watching the Stanley Cup Finals.
That's the discipline, Jake, that I was talking about. The discipline of a hockey team. Anderson, his team on a power play, shows no discipline at all. He was standing in front of Billy Smith. Smith was looking around him. The referee was watching Anderson and Billy Smith when Anderson hit him. He's off the ice now. A break in the action with the Islanders leading the Oilers 3-2. You're watching Stanley Cup final action on In the Eyes of Billy Smith. Justice has been served. Now it depends on what kind of justice you're talking about, injustice or otherwise. Billy Smith has drawn on Anderson a 5-minute penalty going back to the first game. The same thing was called upon Billy Smith. 5 minutes Anderson gets. 1 minute and 50 seconds still in Thomas Johnson's holding penalty. Let's take a look. Watch right in front of the net. Watch the stick. Billy Smith shoves him. Whack right there. You see Anderson reach back and smack Billy Smith on the side of the head. Smith went down. Anderson went off. There's Van Hellemond. He's telling Billy Smith, I don't want any more fooling around. He's afraid now that some of the Edmonton Oilers are going to be coming in there trying to goad Billy Smith into taking a penalty. And he's telling Smith, don't go for it. Don't start anything or you're gone.
The face-off is going to take place outside the Islanders zone. 1:50 left in Johnson's holding penalty. As you look at the Edmonton bench, Glenn Sather and John Muckler. Some debris had been thrown on the ice. We await the removal of that, and we'll get underway again with 11:34 left on the clock. Not a very good penalty for Anderson to get involved, as you pointed out.
I mean, that's almost curtains for them, 11:34, while they're only down 1 goal. If the Islanders get a goal after Thomas Johnson comes out, 3 minutes and 10 seconds, they'll have a power play. If they get one, Anderson has to stay in the box until he serves the complete 5 minutes.
Let's not overlook the fact that Edmonton, during the playoffs, have scored several shorthanded goals. They had 22 shorthanded goals in the regular season. Langevin starting out with the puck. Gave it to Clark Gillies. Shot it into the Edmonton zone, wide of the net. It went right to Moog. He covers up on it as Barry came screaming in. The face-off will be to the right of Andy Moog.
In the Did You Know category, the Islanders have a chance to become only the second team since the original expansion to win the Cup without playing an overtime game. The 1976 Montreal Canadiens were the only other team to do that. No overtime games this season.
Well,
so far.
The Oilers move out into center ice. This is Paul Coffey. Shot it in off Langevin. Dave Langevin bumped by Mark Messier. Eric came over. He and Messier tied up on the boards. The puck came loose for Coffey to Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky trying to come out of the corner is checked by Langevin, and the puck has been shot down into the Edmonton zone. Charlie Huddy chasing it. Gillies moves in on top of him. Huddy off the boards to Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky over the center ice stripe. Across the Islander line. Takes the shot. Can't get in around Morrow. Makes the play. Back to Coffey. Paul Coffey to Huddy. He shot it off Langevin and up into the crowd.
Now got to play the positions right. Dave Langevin does, as Huddy moved in from the point position.
Now Trottier will take this face-off. Got the draw back to Morrow. Kenny Morrow turns. Plays it around to the right wing. Trottier, Bourne, Langevin, and Morrow, and Trottier has cleared it into center ice. Fogelin is back. 45 seconds left in the penalty call, at least against Johnson, as it's dumped in off the board. Morrow got it to Langevin. Tried to turn away from Curry. There's Linsman out in front. Spits the pad save off Kenny Linsman.
Good chance for Edmonton. Good play by Linsman. He's been quiet. We talked about it before the game. There's Jerry Curry as he gets in front of Langevin. Linsman gathers in the puck, turned and got the shot away as Morrow went out after him. But Billy Smith closed the door on Linsman as he has throughout. There's the play between Smith, the exchange. Whack right on the side of the ear. You see Smith reach up on his head, fall down onto the ice. Anderson had reached back and whacked him with the stick. That's what Anderson is serving a 5-minute penalty for, slashing.
Now Potvin for the Islanders has just given it to Persson, ahead to Bourne. Trottier goes down the left side, 2-on-2, takes the pass from Bourne, moves in. Fogelin is on top of him now. Trottier trying to get away from the check. Around to Bourne. Back of the net, Trottier turns. Can't put it out in front cleanly. Fogelin is still right with him, and here comes Jari Kurri. Kurri sends Linsman over center ice. Shot it wide of the Islander net. Danny Potvin picks it up. 6 seconds left in the penalty to Johnson, and the Islanders move out, led by Potvin. 2 men back. Galler streaks in on left wing. Potvin fires one that went wide. Galler goes after the puck, and now the whistle has sounded. A confrontation in the center ice zone between Trottier and Kurri, and it results in a penalty to Trottier, apparently. Interference penalty, a break in the action. You're watching the Stanley Cup Finals on
Every play
SportsChannel.
makes somebody happy and somebody sad. Brian Trottier is upset. He's irate. He took a bad penalty. I think he's more mad at himself. He knocked Gary Curry down. The Islanders had possession of the puck up near the blue line. Let's take a look at the replay. Dennis Potvin behind the net. The penalty occurred up at the Islanders' blue line. Gary Curry was trying to get back into the play. The Islanders had possession and moving in on the Edmonton net when Trottier knocked Curry down right in front of the referee.
So the team's at 5 aside again as Bossy comes into the Edmonton zone. Mike Bossy trying to get away from the checking of Gretzky. Holding on to the puck. Comes back to Potvin. Over to Persson. Stefan Persson's backhander. Goring in front of the net was tangled up in the play. And now Bossy is filled in front of the goal. And the fans are yelling and screaming here as Coffey comes to the Islander line. Paul Coffey parks on the far wing. His pass was deflected outside the zone by Persson. Charlie Huddy down to Gretzky. Gretzky sent Coffey across the line. A shot hit Persson. Coffey recovers the puck. Back to Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky over to Huddy. Charlie Huddy is chased to the boards by Anders Kaller, and Goring moves up ahead of the pack. Kaller trying to get loose of the check across the line, and Gretzky came over to knock it off his stick. Anders Kaller unable to pull it out of the corner. 1 minute remaining in the penalty time against Trache as the Oilers dump it in wide of Billy Smith. More importantly, we have just over 8.5 minutes to play in regulation time. The Islanders 3, the Oilers 2, as Langevin has flipped it into the Edmonton zone. Kevin Lowe plays it to the right wing to Curry. Curry sends Lindsman into the Islanders zone. Drop pass. Foegele in a shot. That whistled wide of the net. Lindsman unable to recover as Morrow knocked it away. It comes back to Lowe from the blue line into the corner. Curry to Lowe. He shoots, Smith the pad save. Big rebound. There's Lowe, and his shot was deflected wide. Anders Kaller comes up the right wing and has shot it high in and out of the Islander bench. It hit the linesman as well. We have 24 seconds left in the penalty to Trache.
Close call, Jake, as Edmonton come knocking on Billy Smith's door. Smith was there. Morrow fell down. There's the play as it goes to the side of the net. Watch Smith now as he backs into the net, makes the save. Point blank. He was partially screened on the play. And right from there, Edmonton got another chance when Lowe came in from his point position. Brian Trache in the penalty box with 24 seconds still remaining on his interference penalty.
Now as play gets underway, Morrow moves to the right side. Dumped the puck out into center ice. Here's Goring getting across the line. Knocked down by Jackson. Tonelli turns. His shot was blocked. Tonelli is grabbed. The puck ends up in the corner to the right of the net, and Hunter comes away with it for Edmonton. Dave Hunter went to the left side as the Oilers start out. Greg, without a stick, kicked the puck into center ice. Back comes Dave Langevin. Langevin to John Tonelli. Ahead to Trache, who's just stepped out of the box. A minute remaining in the Islander power play now. The Islanders lost the puck, and Greg has cleared it into center ice. Here's Danny Potvin over to Persson. Persson spins away from the forechecking of Hunter. Stefan Persson drops it back to Potvin. Cuts to the right side. Got away from Hunter. Into the Edmonton zone with a shot. Stick hand save by Moog. Bossy moves in. The stick was chopped out of his hands. And the Oilers clear it to the blue line. It was bouncing off Hunter. And he manages to recover and clear it down the ice. Half a minute remaining in the major penalty to Anderson. It is Islanders 3. Oilers 2. Trache down the left side. Across the Edmonton line. Trache unable to get around Foegele, but back of the net, the pass around the boards to Clark Gillies. Gillies unable to get it to the blue line on the first attempt. Now Persson holds it in, gave it to Gillies. He shoots, that one wide. Potvin from the left point. Danny Potvin takes a look. His long shot is stick saved by goaltender Andy Moog. And here's Messier shooting it out. Held in by Persson at the right point over to Potvin. It bounced off his stick, and Anderson has cleared it. The Oilers come to center ice. Messier's pass is broken up and cleared by Persson. Aims at 6 aside again. The Oilers starting out. Kevin Lowe up the right wing to Anderson. Into the Islanders zone. He shoots, Smith the stick save. And there's Wayne Sutter feeding it up the middle. Down into the Edmonton zone. Wide of the net. Moog out of the goal to clear the puck to Lowe. Kevin Lowe knocked off the puck. Picked up by Bourne. Put it out in front. Right through the goal mouth. The Oilers try the right wing with a pass to Lindsman, and he is checked by Johnson. The Islanders have shot it back in offside with exactly 6 minutes remaining in regulation time.
The tempo will begin to pick up a little higher, Jiggs, even though the teams look somewhat tired. Even it hasn't been an end-to-end rushing game, but it's a tiring type hockey game. A lot of play along the boards, in the corners, in front of the net. That's the tiring part when you're taking players out of the play all the time, eliminating them, or being eliminated yourself. It's a tiring type hockey game. Another thing, the puck is not sliding well on the ice here at the Coliseum. Players are fighting it as they go through center ice, trying to control it, and it's hard to make a good pass or take a good pass when the puck is not laying flat.
Surprised that the ice appears to be a little heavy here in the third period.
The snow, it seems to have extra snow, whether it's the temperature, I suppose has something to do with it, and the humidity. Watch the Oilers trying to get organized in their own end of the ice. Anderson controlling the puck, goes round behind the net. Glenn Anderson to Yari Curry out to center ice, intercepted by Morrow as he took it away from Linsman. We got Curry with Linsman and Anderson at the moment. Wayne Sutter in the Islander end of the ice. Came off the right wing boards with the puck, gave it to Brent Sutter, and he shot it into center ice. This is Paul Coffey turning for Edmonton. Coffey comes over the Islander line, dropped it to Huddy. His shot was bouncing off Morrow, scooped up by Billy Smith. Comes out of the net, threw it off to the right side for Nystrom. Bob Nystrom, the Butch Goring, deflects the puck to Tonelli. Now back to Johnson into center ice. Thomas Johnson flips it into the Edmonton zone. They watch Mold moving back to the net. The Oilers take over and start out led by Curry. Larry Curry for Ralston, went off his stick. Langevin gave it to John Tonelli. The Butch Goring streaks down the left side over the Edmonton line. Goring tags a cut to the inside. It didn't work with the left. Goring, and he tapped it just wide at the last second. Nystrom cleared the puck to the corner. Jackson is checked by Tonelli. Goes puck. Nystrom takes the man. Here's Pearson with the puck across the Langevin, but it bounces off the boards out to center. Langevin unable to get it back into the Edmonton end of the ice. The Oilers have forced the Islanders back. Hunter steps into Nystrom. The puck came back to Jackson. He moves in, but shot it wide. Smith clears it around behind the net. John Tonelli steps in front of his man. Picks up the puck. Can't clear it out. Langevin moves over. Ran into Pat Hughes. Hughes trying to go back to the net with Ralston. Hughes into the corner. Ralston is down in a heap for some reason. The puck hit Langevin, and now play has been called, and the Oilers are going to come out to attend to Tom Ralston. I didn't see what happened to him. He just went down, and now gets up. Apparently felt that he was going to get a penalty. He gets up swinging his arms like that didn't work.
Well, that's the problem, and the referee has to play it that way, Jakes. Watch Ralston, 24 now, as he goes. There it is. Langevin's stick inadvertently caught him along the side of the face. Ralston, that shouldn't put a player down, but maybe Ralston is affected by a stick in the face in such a manner. That's the individual thing about the game. Some players that wouldn't bother, and some it does. You can see a slight cut right over the right eye, right around the bridge of his nose on Ralston, but it was an accidental stick, as Dave Langevin's stick was bounced into the face of Ralston.
Now 4 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in regulation time. The Islanders 3, the Oilers 2.
It's at this point, Jake, that the Islanders on the bench are talking about it. Let's not kill the clock in our own end of the ice. We've only got a shift apiece is what they're talking about. Let's everybody give their most. Play it down in Edmonton's end of the ice. They need 2 goals to win. 1 to tie.
Now Trottier with the puck. Gets into the center ice area. Bossy picks it up, shoots it in around the boards. Messier chasing it. Morrow came in off the right point. But Messier has been able to shoot it into the Islanders zone. Now less than 4 minutes to play as Potvin dumps it into center ice. Vogelin across the low. Up the left side to Messier. Rink wide to Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky shot his tip. Billy Smith got in front of that. Here's Lumley trying to set one up. Centers off Smith, and Bossy fed it ahead to Kaller. And there's Kaller. To Trottier. Ryan Trottier giving it to Morrow. Off the left wing boards to the Edmonton blue line. Taken by Lee Vogelin with 3.5 minutes left. Vogelin to Lumley. Tipped it in right to Billy Smith. But offside, they're calling a 2-line pass against the Oilers. The clock shows 3 minutes and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Now as play gets underway, Linsman back in his own zone. Gave it to Huddy across to Linsman. Leads the rush down the left side. Curry had broken in ahead of the play, so the Oilers have to regroup. Huddy can't get a stick on it. Paul Coffey back in his own end of the ice. Coffey tries the right wing with a pass for Charlie Huddy. Huddy flips it high and wide of the Islander goal. That's Brent Sutter going back to the net. Knocked it away from Anderson. Got away from the vicious elbow as well. And Bourne clears it, but not out. The Oilers played it into the corner. There's Anderson. When Anderson is checked, Langevin lost it. Kenny Linsman moves in. And what a play by Pearson. It comes out in front. Pearson jabs it loose again. Charlie Huddy on the left wing, slapping at it. And it goes around the glass to Pearson. Pearson ran into a check from Linsman, trying to center the puck in the Islanders zone. It came out in front. Coffey is knocked down in front. The puck is loose out in center ice. Charlie Huddy has to wait for his teammates to get back on side. They shot it in, delayed offside. Langevin moves it up the left wing. Here's Bourne into the Edmonton zone. He fired it wide as it rolled off the heel of his stick. 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. Yari Curry has backhanded the puck into the Islanders zone. Potvin shot it off the boards. Oh, what a break as Lumley moves in. Can't handle the puck. Potvin clears it out of his own end of the ice. No, Vogelin with it now. Around the boards and tennis for Gretzky. Here's Lumley out of the corner. Lumley put it in front. Kicked aside by Potvin. Nystrom moves over. Controls the puck on the boards. Kicked it into the corner. Gretzky goes after it. Nystrom jabbed it away from him. 1 minute and 45 seconds left. Potvin to Goring. 2-on-1 with Nystrom. Lowe is back as Goring moves in deep over to Nystrom. It was broken up by Lowe, and the Oilers wheel out. This is Messier down right wing. Mark Messier, the pass over on the far side. Lumley shot hit Morrow. The Edmonton goal is empty. Gretzky back to the net. Morrow ties him up, and here's Tonelli clearing it to Nystrom. Nystrom unable to get it out of his own end of the ice with 1:22 left in regulation time. Gretzky from back of the goal, putting on pressure now. Centers the puck. It's broken up. Potvin can't clear it out. Morrow gets a stick on it. Kenny Morrow carries it over center ice. Shoots into an empty net. He scores! Kenny Morrow!
They weren't the limit. They gambled everything. The Edmonton Oilers knew they had to do it. And when you do, you leave yourself open. All players for Edmonton were deep in the Islanders' end of the ice. And away they came. The sorrow is showing on Edmonton. They gave it a good try. But Ken Morrow, as he's done so often, playing his position perfectly, stole the puck. He's tired. He's trying to get out of the end. He gains the red line and then lets it fly right in the middle of the net. Dead center. Ken Morrow's shot, his 5th goal of the playoffs, has put the game almost out of reach of the Edmonton Oilers. 1 minute and 9 seconds as Ken Morrow lets fly to the open net, and it's in the net. 4-2 now for the New York Islanders. Very close call, Jiggs. Edmonton were all around the net. It looked as though they were moving in, getting ready to cock the hammer and let go. But Morrow, so often, he plays his position perfectly, and the puck comes to him.
How sweet it is, that Midas touch for Kenny Morrow. You think back to the gold medal, Lake Placid, the Olympics of 1980. And consecutive Stanley Cups with the Islanders. He's headed for number 4.
Al Arbour up and down the bench, Jake. You know what he's telling them? Get out on the ice and finish the game. But remember something, Edmonton can score. He knows you do not take anything for granted. Sitting down on the right side of the bench of the Islanders is that team. They can score goals. Al Arbour knows it. The Islanders know it. They're deflated now, but they're against the wall in a corner. They'll come out fighting.
So much has been said about the maturity of the Edmonton Oilers and how much they're learning in this series. It'll be interesting to see how they approach the 80 games in the regular season next year. There's Al Arbour with the hand signals. Just play, just move the puck, get it into the Edmonton end of the ice. Don't fool around with it in your own end would be his instructions at this point. Andy Moog is back in goal for Edmonton.
Everybody in the building on their feet, Jiggs. 1 minute and 9 seconds remaining.
This play gets underway. Mike Bossy fires it into the Edmonton zone. Wide of Moog. We have 60 seconds remaining in Stanley Cup playoff game number 4. The clock ticking down the final seconds as Langevin clears it out of his own zone to center, and there's Charlie Huddy. Charlie Huddy ran into Trottier outside the blue line. Now Bossy picks it up, takes a look, fires it to the open wing. Coffey with 40 seconds left. Shot it back into the Islanders zone. About Trottier to Keller. They volleyballed it around a little bit, and now it's cleared to the right side for Coffey. Offside. It was delayed and cleared into center ice. Picked up by Trottier. He's into the Edmonton zone with Keller. The pass was there. Keller poked at it. It went off Bold stick hand. Andy Keller. Check to the Edmonton end. Recovered the puck. Then was taken to the boards. Forced to freeze it. The puck comes loose with 13 seconds left. Anderson can't pick it up. We have 10 seconds left. The Islanders are going to win the Stanley Cup in a sweep of the Edmonton Oilers. Here's Gretzky with a shot. Billy Smith, the glove save. On it, 2.5, 6 go up in the air. This game is history, and the Islanders have won the Stanley Cup for the 4th consecutive time in a sweep. A year ago over Vancouver, a sweep tonight over the Edmonton Oilers. And congratulations being given to one another. They as a team overcame adversity too. You think back to the season they had, there were times when you said, what's happened to the New York Islanders? Well, when they put the money on the line, 18, they came through again.
They did. They've done it before, James. They're a tough hockey team. There goes Billy Smith to the dressing room, and he has been just announced as the Conn Smythe winner. How could you not pick him with all of the great hockey players they've had? The historical handshake, but Billy Smith consistently beat everybody he played against.
And there in the center right, well, you see Billy Smith headed for the Islander dressing room. He does not take hand in the postseason handshake, but his teammates do, and you see them congratulating the Edmonton Oilers. That's Billy Smith's locker. His stall in the dressing room. You saw the graphic. Has been named the Conn Smythe Trophy winner. He's getting that heavy chest protector off. He'll get rid of those goal pads as quick as he can as well. Probably throw a water bottle or two over himself.
You have to feel, James, a little bit for the Edmonton Oilers. They came in, they thought they were prepared, and for all of the reasons they felt they could beat the New York Islanders. They had all of the reasons for thinking that. They had walked through the Campbell Conference. They had walked through the playoffs. But when they run up against the tough defense of the New York Islanders, it was too much. The old adage about the best defensive team generally takes the Stanley Cup. There it is. Brian Crotche waving over it.
Islanders making 4 in a row, just as the Montreal Canadiens had done from 75-76 to 78-79. And now the president of the National Hockey League, Mr. John A. Ziegler Jr., is there to present the trophy to the Islander captain, Denny Potvin, and it's home again on Long Island for the 4th consecutive year. 18.
It would almost appear that nobody's going to be able to take it away from them, Jakes, but they have been outstanding. They go back, and when they started against the Washington Capitals back in early April, everybody felt, a lot of people felt that if they continued to play the kind of hockey that they were playing during the regular season, that the Washington Capitals would claim victory over the New York Islanders. It was time for them not to have the Stanley Cup. But they turned the tide on everybody. They got together. They decided that they wanted it bad enough. They decided to make the sacrifices that it takes to win the Cup. They knew what the sacrifices were. They were willing to do it. As the Cup is carried by each member of the New York Islanders, quite an honor, quite a feeling when they look back, they reflect back, and think back of the long 80 games. The cheer behind us is the public announcement that Billy Smith has just been awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy as the best and most outstanding player in the National Hockey League playoffs. There is happy Al Arbor. 4 straight Stanley Cups as he heads to the dressing room to share all of that with his teammates. Brian Trottier, Dwayne Sutter doing a dance in the center ice area. John Pickett, of course, he'll join the team down in the dressing room to congratulate each member. Proud of the fact that John Pickett has been chairman of the New York Islanders through 4 straight Stanley Cups. He actually rescued the team. There he is with the captain, Dennis Potvin. What a standout in the playoffs for Dennis Potvin. Did not have a good season, but more than made up for it in the playoffs. The great old Stanley Cup. Only the Montreal Canadiens have won it more consecutive times. The Islanders in 4 straight times. That's Greg Gilbert with the cup. He is as much a part of it as Mike Bossy. That's the way the Islanders feel about their teammates. Everybody shares equally in the glory of winning it. It all stretches back to early October. At training camp, that's what the players talk about. They talk about getting ready, playing the season, and they all have the same thing in mind. Every member of the 21 teams to win the Stanley Cup. And it's over here tonight. Sitting along with me, a gentleman that has a lot to do with the New York Islanders and the Stanley Cup. We'll get to him when we get back. You're watching Stanley Cup final action on SportsChannel. With me at this time, Fran Purcell, and we're going to get to Fran Purcell, but we're going to tune in on the Conn Smythe awarding. Let's go to the Conn Smythe.
It's always a pleasure to reward excellence and a pleasure to introduce the president of the National Hockey League, John Ziegler, who will present the 1983 Conn Smythe Trophy to Billy Smith of the Islanders.
David, you know, in a series that really featured superstars, it's very tough to excel in that competition. But there was no question as to Billy Smith. And I think from the beginning to the end, Bill, we were very proud of you for hockey, the excellence you showed. You led your team. Very proud to present you the Conn Smythe Trophy. You really deserved it. And I know it's a team award, but you really led this team to this victory against an excellent hockey team, the Edmonton Oilers.
Thank you very much. And all I got to say is there's probably a lot of people back in Canada will be turning over in their bed with me winning this tonight.
No, not at all. Not at all. To me, it was the dream matchup, Dave, as everybody called it.
Shorter dream than a lot of us thought.
Well, of course. And I think the reason that it was shorter than anybody thought was this fellow right here, and that's why he deserved the trophy.
Okay, John, I know
he took the game away from him.
I know you'd like to congratulate the other members of the Islanders. I want to just ask a couple of questions of Billy Smith. You mentioned you related to the controversy that you seemed to cause. Tell us about the major penalty to Anderson.
Well, I did the same thing that Gretzky did to me to draw 5 penalties out. When I hit Gretzky in Edmonton, he rolled around and cried like he was dying. So when he hit me tonight, I said, hey, I may just well do the same thing. So that's what I did. I threw myself on my back and I squirmed. Incidentally, he got 5 minutes. So all I want to tell the people in Canada and all over the world, 2 can play that game.
After Game 3, I asked you who you thought should win this. You named Bob Bourne, you named a few others, but those of us who are close to this trophy suspected you'd be here to be the winner.
I'm very pleased to win it, and let's face it, I did want to win it, but I also wanted to bring attention to other teammates on my team that I thought excelled when they were needed. Like when Brian Truddy was out, nobody carried this team more than Bobby Bourne. Penalty killing, Butchie Goring, Billy Carl. You know, they're on our specialty teams, and people don't give them the credit for what they really do out there, and that's what upsets a guy like me.
Well, John, proof of the team aspect related to the Islanders is that they won 4 Stanley Cups, and there are 4 separate winners in the last 4 years of this trophy.
Jakes McDonald in the Islander dressing room. Butch Goring, they refer to him as the catalyst. He was here for the first. It was that trade that they look back to. The champagne any better this time than the first time around?
Well, I don't know if it's any better, Jakes, but it's a big thrill this year. You know, everybody kind of counted us out during the year. We didn't have an Islander year according to everybody else's expectations. Well, we said we could turn it on when we had to, and I think we proved to beyond a shadow of a doubt that we can turn it on, and we got a terrific hockey team. I want to commend Edmonton Oilers. They had a terrific year. We beat them 4 straight, but as you know, that was tough 4 games, the toughest 4 games maybe we ever played. So congratulations to them on our super year, and good for us.
Butchie, again, congratulations. Enjoy the festivities here. Down to the studio to Stan Fischler.
Thank you, Jakes. We may have the greatest coach in the history of hockey here, and now you're smiling. I remember you weren't smiling the other day. I said, this guy wants to win the 4th one. How does number 4 rate with the other 3, Al Arbor?
Well, the first one is always, you know, really the greatest because you've never won it before. But this one here is the sweetest of them all, Stan. I mean, I can't say enough about my players, the way they performed throughout the playoffs, and all the players that performed with injuries. They just gave it everything they have. Some of them shouldn't even be out there. And Kenny Moore is one of them. He goes out there tonight and gets that insurance goal for us. I just can't say. This is a special group of players. Maybe we don't have all the ability of some other teams. You know, you can't compare that. But I'll tell you, there's no team with greater character in any sport than this group right here.
Al, this character is a reflection of you, the coach. Now you are right up at the very top. Let me ask you this question. Was there any special strategy that you had going into the third period with Edmonton coming back so strong?
Well, we didn't want to lose our composure. We wanted to go after them. We were a little tired, but we wanted to go after them and try to create, you know, not wait for them to come to us, try to create some things. But we were a little tired at times, and we let them come to us a little bit too much, but we hung tough. That's the important thing. We didn't get rattled. We hung tough, and we got our break, and we scored that insurance goal, which is, I'll tell you, just lifted a 100-pound weight off my head.
The man with all the character that epitomizes the Islanders, the coach, Al Arbor.
Back here in the Islander dressing room, this is what it's all about. The trophy is safely ensconced in the room now. Dave Langevin is with us. You've had a sip out of it. Congratulations.
It's super because, you know, at the beginning of the series, you know, there's a lot of injuries, and it just showed the character of this team to keep fighting back no matter how bad the odds were, and we never doubted ourselves, and again, we have the Stanley Cup.
How bad was the knee, Dave, going into the finals when you finally did return?
Oh, geez, every game it felt worse, and I was starting to get cramps in the knee and back of the legs, and the days off I could hardly walk, but who cares now? You know, I could sit all summer now.
That's right, and enjoy it, my friend. Congratulations. Thanks, again. As you can tell, the champagne has been flowing here. Dave Langevin, just one of many. We're going to get Mike Bossy, Brian Trottier, Billy Smith when he returns. I know you've already heard from him, but we're going to ask a couple of other questions. But now down to the studio to Stan Fischler.
Thank you, Jiggs. The guy who outscored the great Gretzky, Kenny Morrow. He's a defenseman, but he also gets goals. Kenny, your feelings about this great triumph?
Unbelievable. I'll tell you, we had a lot of critics this year. And, you know, I think we silenced them, and I just, you know, can't thank the guys enough. They had a super year, and they really came through in the clutch.
Tell me about that empty net goal.
Well, I think I'm going to be put on a specialty team now when the goalies are pulled because I got 2 open netters against Edmonton. But, you know, they had 3 guys in around our net, and the puck squirted loose. I saw an opening, and I went up ice, and when I got over the red line, I saw one guy was standing right in front of me, and I don't know how I got by him, but it went right in the middle just like the other one.
Kenny, how much were you hurting in this game?
Not too bad. You know, my knee was sore the other day at practice, so I didn't practice too much, and I was just worried about losing my conditioning. But when you're out there during the game, you know, your mind is so totally on the game that you don't think about how hurt you are.
You know, when I tell my son Ben, who's 11 years old, about character, I said, watch the Islanders, watch people like Kenny Morrow who are playing hurt. Now tell me something. How does this compare with the other 3 cups?
Well, you know, I think you just really can't compare cups, but, you know, this one I think by far was the toughest, especially the last 2 rounds. We beat 2 of the top teams in the league, and especially this last series, you know, with Edmonton. To shut them down 4 games in a row is just unbelievable.
Unbelievably, the Islanders, the only American team to ever have won 4 straight Stanley Cups, and it wasn't like it was a relaxed win, right down to the wire.
Right down to the wire is right. When we went out to that third period, there was an air of panic about us because we knew that they were going to be coming at us, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, they just came wave after wave after wave. Messier, Curry, Coffey, I mean, everyone was coming up. It was just a very, very tough third period.
Also very controversial, the 5-minute major penalty given to Glenn Anderson. Billy Smith did a little somersault there, a little bit of Hamlet or acting in there.
An Oscar performance.
He said he was getting even for some of the stunts that Gretzky had pulled.
Well, that's exactly it. When you look back, I think it was in Game 2 up in Edmonton, you know, Billy Smith used to use this move, and it used to help his defenseman tremendously. He would throw his stick out like this to the man coming around the net, and it would strip him of the puck. So what happened on this particular play is it actually got up a little high on Gretzky and hit him in the leg or in the ankle or something like that, and he went down like a ton of bricks. Well, I would have to agree. It was a little bit of acting on Smitty's part, but Anderson kind of turned around after they got mixed up. He turned around and kind of went at him a little bit, and Smitty did a double flip and landed on his back and played it out pretty good. And it gave us 5 minutes of relief. We didn't score on the play, but boy, we got 5 minutes of relief.
Well, you talk about relief. Nobody provided better relief than Kenny Morrow, and he had already become kind of a surprise hero with the sudden death goal against the L.A. Kings, and of course
against the Rangers. That one.
This one. What did he do when he scored that goal and afterwards?
Well, the interesting thing about that goal, and as it's set up, is that we were in our zone for an extended period of time, and John Stanley and I were playing out there, and as Kenny started to break out of the zone, here's the defenseman, doesn't score much. Here's John Stanley and I. We figured that we were the greatest goal scorers, right? So we're both yelling at him, pass, pass, pass. And he wouldn't pass it to either one of us. He skated over the red line and put it in the open net. And we went over to congratulate him, and Kenny Moore said about 3 words his whole career anyhow. But he grabs hold of us and he says, I love you guys. I love you guys. It was the greatest feeling. I mean, we were just glad to get it over and done with.
Well, not only did they win a 4th straight Stanley Cup, but the Islanders had now won 16 consecutive playoff series. That was unprecedented, and Bobby Nystrom, one of the heroes of this great hockey team, thanks very much for coming. During this long, hot summer, stay tuned to more Sports Channel Cool Classics every Sunday.